cup of Joe. Let's talk about some goings on and anything you know. Cup of Joe. Let's talk about some goings on and anything you know. Good morning. Get in here and grab a cup of Joe. Let's talk about some goings on and anything you know. Joe. Let's talk about some goings on and anything you know. Good morning. Get in here and grab a cup of Joe. Let's talk about some goings on and anything you know. Good morning. Get in here and grab a cup of Joe. Let's talk about some goings on and anything you know.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday, Treva, 857 Tucson. Carrie, good morning. Good morning, everybody. It's been a minute or two, or a hot minute, since I've done a morning show, so it's about time. Think my idea today is to do a little bit of the recap of the trial, since that's wrapped up now, and we have justice for Charles. We can do a little bit of a victory lap this morning. Dwayne, good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. We can do a bit of a victory lap on receiving justice for Charles, and then we can start looking at getting justice for Brandon Boudreaux, who fortunately survived the attempt on his life by Lori and her brother, incompetent brother at times. He was competent, unfortunately, too many times. But welcome to my co-host, Salty. Good morning, Salty. Welcome in.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. I am good this morning.
I'm pretty good this morning, too.
Good deal.
Yep. It's a beautiful day, and I'm not streaming a trial, so I can actually get outside and touch some grass, and it feels nice.
I think I heard some birds chirping in the background there. Are there?
Oh, yeah. I just walked outside with my coffee, and like that's all I'm hearing is the birds. So I love it.
Nice.
I like birds who are not in a cage. I like them to be outside flying around, singing and doing their thing. It's beautiful that way.
It is.
Yeah.
Good morning, Butterfly. Good morning, Pokemon. Welcome in.
Welcome in. Good morning. Good morning, lovely people. Hope you all slept well. I wonder if it's going to let me comment, because it started letting me comment in chat where before I couldn't. Yes, it's letting me.
Nice.
Yay. I don't know what happened or what I did to change, but like for a year, if I come into this on my phone, I could never comment in chat. That's why I would always just stop and address it.
Good morning, Glitter. Glitter's in here too.
Good morning. I see a lot of familiar faces. Joy, Carrie. So my crew is all here. Good morning, Tucson. Haven't seen you around in a bit.
Good morning, Sue Joy. Happy Saturday to you too as well.
Butterfly says, me needs coffee. Me got some coffee right now. We've been practicing our New England accents, I guess. I'm having a hard time being so southern with all these sidebars, and we think Judge Bev needs a cup of coffee all the time.
Right.
She's always taking a break and calling for a sidebar. So,
Good morning, salty girl. Salty girl's in the chat.
oh, nice. We got some salty girls up in here.
We got a double dose of salty this morning.
Are y'all ready for this? Y'all better buckle up, buttercups. Oh, goodness.
Goodness gracious.
So crazy couple of weeks in true crime, back to back trials. We have Brandon's coming up next, Koberger's after that. Wow, it's going to be a busy year in true crime.
It is huge cases with huge impact on our community, just as trial watchers, true crime buffs, but also for the victims and the families.
It finally, right? We see how long it's taking these cases to move through the court systems and get to trial, and it seems to get further and further out each time. You know what I mean? Like it takes 3 years anymore to get a case to trial. Do you know how hard that has to be on family members? We've seen the results by watching Kay and Kresha and Megan, you know, and we support them so much because they deserve it. But you have to put yourself in their place, like you're saying, and think about how long that road is.
Yeah.
It's got to be hard.
Yeah. Kay literally said 6 years of walking through hell.
Yes.
Get to this point.
And yes. And you felt that watching her being questioned by Lori and Kay's, the way Kay dealt with her, you could almost see it was like all those years of finally some release was happening almost. You know, and I know she spent the next day all day in bed. She's like, she was drained, she was done. And I get it. She needed to take that time to get her rest her soul, you know.
Yeah, for sure. And it's miraculous that it only took, I mean, I'm going to say only took 1 day, but that would have been draining for all of us. Like we can't even imagine. Low light recovery, welcome in.
Yeah.
See you in here.
Yeah. She was such a strong lady, you know, and that Lori didn't even, it was like less than 3 minutes of a takedown of Lori Vallow. It was epic to watch, you know.
She is an amazingly strong woman. And when you're around her, like physically in person, you can just get that. You get that vibe from her. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
She gives off that Kay Woodcock energy is what I call it. And I've seen it for years now. I've watched it evolve as she's moved through the different trials, you know, and I've seen her get stronger each time because you have no choice. As time is a thing. That's the thing about time. Things do heal with time, but there's not a timeline for anybody, you know. So it's been I'm glad she's finally getting to a point where she can move past, we got to get through another trial, because that's when they can focus. Like she said, she's got a grandchild to raise. She's got to focus now on life again, and you know, just live with what has happened to her family members without worrying about prepping for trial.
Yeah. One more to go. One more. We got this.
One more. Yeah. And fortunately, Brandon's still here with us, you know, and they didn't succeed in their attempt on him. But there was a great friendship that developed between him and Kay over the time. You know, she was talking about that just the other night on an interview about, for the longest time, it was almost just like her and Brandon alone were trying to compile and gather information because they weren't getting much help anywhere else. And at the time, they weren't investigating Charles' death in the way they were, right? And when they started making sense of things. So like she said, she'll be back to support Brandon. She won't be able to be there every day, but she'll definitely be back to support him.
Right. Kathy left undone. Welcome in. Welcome in. Kathy and I'm going to join Kathy later for a live this morning to talk about the trial and do.
I like that name because that's my actual real name. So that's pretty cool.
Kathy, we're going to, if I can figure out a way to portal this over to your live. So we're going to do a live at, that's going to be 10:30, 11:30, 12, 1:30 Eastern. We're going to do a live on her channel.
Okay, so that's before I go visit Miss Shorty, so I'll have time to come in and pop in.
Yep, absolutely.
Cool. Make sure you get that out there, and so I can get my notification on. I'm home all day.
Good deal. Trace is in here too. Divergent. We're starting to see all the gang is showing up this morning. I appreciate that very much.
Welcome in on a Saturday morning.
Right. Hold on. Give me 1 second before I start to roll. You know, I've got to do for my morning Joe Schmoe show, I've got to do a sports update first.
Oh, goodness gracious. It's been a minute since I had a Joe Schmoe sports update. You've been too busy, dude.
Yeah, she's the energy vampire, right? And the time vampire. Just sucks everything out of you.
Well, yeah.
All right, here is the link for Kathy Left Undone. There's her channel.
Thank you. Good deal. Good deal. I feel like I got an echo. Maybe I should come out and come back in.
Okay, I gotcha.
You got it? Okay, I'll be back.
Yep. All right. We'll see Salty up here with me back here in a minute. So my sports update, my Atlanta Braves, they have been my team. Disney Nerd, welcome in, Disney Nerd. Good to see you. My Atlanta Braves started the season on a 6-game road trip, 7-game road trip, 7 games to the National League West. The National League West is the Padres, the Dodgers, the Rockies, and the Diamondbacks. So they hit the Padres and the Dodgers first, and they went 0 for 7 to start the season. And I was like, oh, crap, what the heck? We're starting out 0-7. That's not good. But they've been getting better. Their record is up to like 11-14 now. So when you start out 0-7, 11-14 is a pretty good stretch over the next one. But now they're on another 6-game National League West tour, road trip, if you will. And they played the Arizona Diamondbacks as the first game of that road trip last night. So we're going to take a look at that first. Chris Sale was the starting pitcher. Zach Gallen was the starting pitcher for the Diamondbacks last night. And Zach is a younger kid. I would say kid to me. He's probably in his late 20s. He's been in the major leagues for like 5 or 6 seasons. He's had like 4 or 5 seasons in a row of double-digit wins. So he's a good pitcher. Chris Sale is a really good pitcher. The Braves acquired him a couple of seasons ago as a veteran pitcher, but he started out the season this year rough. Last year, he went like 18-3 with like a 2.56 ERA. If you know what that means, that's a really good ERA. Like he had a really good season last year. He started off rough this year. He was pitching last night for the Braves. This is game 1 of the 3-game series between the Braves and the Diamondbacks. And the reason we're watching this is because I'm going to go to game 2 tonight, 5:10 p.m. first pitch. I will be at Chase Stadium, downtown Phoenix, to watch game 2.
Up out towards first base. Olsen under it.
So I start here because the first 3 innings were pretty uneventful. I mean, the Braves were up 3-1. That's a decent lead in baseball. It's not insurmountable. Obviously, there have been bigger comebacks, and there are all the time.
Towards first base. Olsen under it. And a good inning by Chris Sale.
A good inning by Chris Sale. So here's another thing about Chris Sale. He's a southpaw. He's a lefty. I'm a lefty. I'm a southpaw. Charles Vallow was also a southpaw. So this was a pretty good connection for me.
First 3 outings has yet to allow a hit, faced the minimum. Only 9 batters in his 3 innings of work with 4 strikeouts. Big bouncer up the middle and a base hit. And he's hit a 9.
So the Braves start to get it going here in the top of the 6th. Base hit, base hit, base hit. Oh.
Pair of singles here for Olsen and Harris in the 6th. Well, Eli White steps up here with 2 on and 2 out. High bouncer to third. Low throw.
And then a fielding error by the Diamondbacks. All right. So the Braves start to put numbers up on the board. And then blah, blah, blah. I know you don't watch. If you don't watch baseball, this is really boring. I'm going to be there in person tonight, so it'll be less boring than usual.
1-1 pitch. Swung on line drive right field. That is a fair ball. And that's going to get into the corner.
So the Diamondbacks put up a number in the bottom of the 8th.
On a great start to the road trip. All to pitch, a swing and a miss, and the Braves win. And a great start here.
Braves win. That's the point.
The road trip altogether.
All right.
So they won.
Yes, the Braves won 8-2.
If I'm going to watch a sport outside of race cars, it will be baseball. So, but I haven't watched baseball in years. My dad used to watch it all the time. My dad was a coach. My brother always played ball. I grew up at a ballpark. So if I'm going to participate in any of them, it'll be baseball. But I don't have like a team I go for or anything. So I don't follow it like that.
I have been an Atlanta Braves fan since 1987, and there's
a lot of
story.
people are. Yeah, a lot of people are, especially in the southeast where I'm at. So,
yes, definitely.
And I like Roll Tide and people that Roll Tide everywhere.
Yep. Right. I don't have me any part of that Roll Tide thing, though. No, thank you.
I don't either. I'm from Florida. I got a rep. Go Gators.
Right.
And I don't even care either way. But yeah, I'm not that girl. My sister's Roll Tide. I do not. So funny. Okay, I'm done. I'm good with your baseball updates.
It's all good. La Mesa Food Club, welcome in. La Mesa Filipino Food Club. Get all 4 of those words in there.
Don't make us want food.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that's that up. Now we can shift back to our victory lap for the trial. Akasha, welcome in. Hey there. Good to see you in here.
Yes, good morning.
Kresha said she's working on something good. She's always working on something good.
Kresha.
But I know she's got a really interesting interview lined up, and I can't wait to watch that. I'm not going to give any spoiler alerts, but she's got an interview with somebody who knew Charles back in the day.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Well, when you can get the opportunity to, humanize your victims, and people get to see more about the victims is always a good thing, because they get lost in these cases. And I don't think it's intentional. Do you know what I mean? It's just at some point they're not talked about as much because it's focused on the defendant, which still puts focus on a victim, especially if they're convicted and all the things, but they get lost.
Yeah, that's just the nature of our news cycle and true crime, and like all of those shows like Vinnie Politan Investigates. Like, that's why I can appreciate Kresha so much, because she literally brought JJ to life for me, and I saw that beautiful little boy that was taken from this earth way too soon, and I grew to love him, like, through Kresha, and I have no other way to explain it. And I know it sounds silly, but
no, it's not, because mainstream media doesn't put out enough sometimes. I'm going to tell you how I feel, because Idaho 4 victims I hold very dear to my heart. You know why? Because their families gave me things to see, to humanize those poor children, young adults who were murdered and then destroyed on the internet by rumors. And that's why I have a video out of Ethan Chapin singing a song where he says, I just want you to know who I am. And I think that stands for all victims, because we don't know who they are unless somebody tells us. And who do we have to do that but their families, right? So, I always like to see the good things come out about the victims, because it lets us remember something was lost here that can never be replaced.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can tell that when Kresha talks about JJ, that JJ held a special place in her heart too. And
Obviously, and if you've seen, even if you watch Colby's little videos that he's been releasing, he had a very close relationship with JJ. It's not fake. It's right there for you to see with your own eyes. They loved each other. They had a great, he was so much older than JJ. He was able to be that really cool big brother, and seeing those little interactions and JJ smile and look like a normal, happy kid,
yeah.
was really good. It was heartwarming and sad at the same time.
And it helped, but it also helped to overcome Lori's narrative that he was such a troubled child, that he was such a pain in the ass. No, he wasn't.
She's still doing it when she tries to throw Tylee under the bus consistently. Even in her last interview after her guilty verdict, she's still doing it. And, that's her narcissistic, warped mind. But yeah, trying to make your kids be the villain, ladies, sit down with that.
Yeah, sit down with that already.
Yeah, enough's enough. We've heard that story. We're not buying what you're selling. We're not picking up what you're laying down, Lori.
Nope. All right. So here is the final minute entry from trial day 12, according to the court's calendar. Day 12 was the last one, although we go by a different one. Usually we don't start when jury selection starts, but they do. So this is the very last day of trial. This is the verdict. We're going to read the verdict. All right. April 22nd, 2025. Judge Boreski, State of Arizona versus Lori N. Daybell. Trial minute entry, day 12, verdict. Courtroom 5D, South Court Tower. 10:38 a.m. The members of the jury are all present in the jury room and resume deliberations from April 21st, 2025. We all know they deliberated exactly 17 minutes on the 21st. There were no actual deliberations that went on. State's Attorney Trina Kay, Defendant's Advisory Attorney Pamela Hicks, and Robert Abernethy. Defendant is present. Prisoner number G062213. I think that's what she should go by from now on, G062213, at least until she's sentenced in Arizona. She is G062213. Court reporter Nicola Bauman is present. A record of the proceedings is also made digitally. 3:29 p.m. Trial to jury continues from April 21st, 2025. The jury is not present. Discussion is held regarding scheduling. Wait. Court stands at recess. The court reconvenes with the defendant and respective counsel present. A record of the proceedings is also made digitally. 3:48 p.m. All 12 members of the jury are present in the jury box, and by their foreperson return into court their verdict, which is read and recorded by the clerk and is as follows. We, the jury, duly impaneled and sworn in the above entitled action upon our oaths, do find the defendant Lori Daybell as to the crime of count 1, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder occurring on or about July 11, 2019, guilty. Signed, foreperson. The jury replies that this is their true verdict. At the request of the court, the jury is polled, and each juror replies that this is his or her verdict. The jury is excused from the courtroom. Discussion is held with respect to aggravating circumstances. After discussion, the defendant stipulates to the aggravating circumstances. The court conducts a colloquy with the defendant and finds that she has intelligently, knowingly, and voluntarily stipulated as follows. The offense is a dangerous offense. The offense caused physical, emotional, or financial harm to the victim, or if the victim died as a result of the conduct of the defendant, caused emotional or financial harm to the victim's immediate family who was in the courtroom for this, which is why she stipulated, because she didn't want any of them getting up and telling about their emotional or financial harm. That's the only reason she stipulated, people. So Kay couldn't get up there, so Jerry couldn't get up there, so their other sister couldn't get up there and talk about their emotional or financial harm. She also stipulates that the offense involved the presence of an accomplice. We know who that was. All 12 members of the jury are present. The jury is thanked by the court and excused from further consideration of this cause. It is ordered setting a status conference regarding sentencing on May 30th. Oh, I missed that. So there will be a status conference on May 30th. So that's right before Brandon's trial is scheduled to start.
Because didn't she choose to have sentencing after Brandon's?
Yes, she did. Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. Which I didn't know you could do that, but okay.
Right. So let's see that too. Watch that as it aired on Court TV, just because I can't get enough of it.
Oops.
Trial of Lori Daybell. I'm Ashley Wilcott. After less than 3 hours of deliberations over 2 days, the jury reached a verdict.
Be seated. Do we have a foreperson? Who's the foreperson?
Yes.
Has the jury reached a verdict?
Yes, we have.
I'm going to ask you to hand that to my courtroom assistant. I'll ask the clerk to read and record the verdict.
In the Superior Court of the State of Arizona in and for the County of Maricopa, State of Arizona versus Lori Daybell, CR 2021-001704-001, verdict count 1. We, the jury, duly impaneled and sworn in the above entitled action, upon our oaths, do find the defendant, Lori Daybell, as to the crime of count 1, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder occurring on or about July 11, 2019, guilty. Signed, foreperson. Is this your true verdict? So say you one and all.
Yes.
On the court's own motion, I'll go ahead and ask the clerk to poll the jury.
Juror number 1, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 2, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 6, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 7, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 8, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 9, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 10, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 11, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 12, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 13, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 15, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 16, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to ask the jury to retire to the jury room for just about 2 minutes. I need to discuss something with the parties.
Yep, that's when they get into the aggravating factors, and she doesn't want any part of that. So stop that. Yeah, let's take a look right now as to the schedule. Somebody just brought that up. When is Brandon's trial going to be? So that trial is done. Charles, Kay, Jerry, and family receive justice. And long time coming in that Let's see, what is La Mesa Filipino Food Club? A lot of issues with family members speaking at sentencing at the last trial. I sincerely hope this judge allows a lot of, yes, so that'll come up during sentencing. So when we talked about victim impact statements, that is during sentencing. That's not during the aggravating factor phase. This was the aggravating factor phase right here that she stipulated to, just so people couldn't get up, just so the people that she didn't want to get up and talk about their emotional and or financial hardships that were a result of her horrible acts. So, but we are already talking about the Brandon case. That's a good transition for me because that's where I wanted to go next. We have the minute entry from the court that talks about the scheduling of that trial. So let's share that and go over that. All right. So this was filed a little over a week ago, 8 days ago, from April 17th. This is 2022 case. So always know that the 2022 case is regarding Brandon Boudreaux. The 2021 case was about Charles Vallow. Status conference trial set, last day extended, 11:32 a.m. courtroom 5D, South Court Tower. Trina K. Pam Hicks, Robert Abernethy, defendant is present. Court reporter Diane Donahoe. That's a different one than the last one. A record of the proceedings is also made digitally after discussion. It is ordered setting this matter for trial on May 30th, 2025 at 10 a.m. before Judge Boreski. It is further ordered setting the final trial management conference on May 14th, 2025 at 10 a.m. before Judge Boreski. The court will discuss the remote e-questionnaire to be distributed around May 21st, 2025. It is further ordered setting a status conference on May 29th, 2025 at 1 p.m. before Judge Boreski to discuss the e-questionnaires. So there's three important dates. Boom, boom, boom. May 14th, 29th, and 30th. Over the defendant's objection and for the reasons as stated on the record, it is further ordered excluding time and designating new last day, June 30th, 2025. We know the judge wanted to not go past July 3rd, 2025, so they're setting the new last day for June 30th, 2025. It will be interesting to see if they go longer than this first trial. It may be a more complicated case. It may be. Because Brandon survived, so there's no dead body to testify about. There's no coroner's report. There's no medical examiner's report. I mean, it's just, it's going to be
Straight
the
up
evidence.
testimony. Mm-hmm.
Yep, exactly.
So what do they actually have? Like, are there going to be any revealing text message communications? I'm so interested to see the Melanie Boudreaux aspect of that come out, because I know that, you know, Brandon tried to get her to see what was happening and all the things were going on, but then in comes this new man and he can get her done. And I'm like, what in the world? You know? So is there anything, do you know what I mean? That can, because we saw how they laid it out with this trial, with Charles's trial, and how they were showing the communication between Lori and Alex, and it's all going to come to a head thing, and you know, we're almost done, and so much to do. All the things they were talking about. Are we going to see similar stuff with Brandon's? Because there has to be something, or they couldn't even bring it to trial. There's some really good, strong probable cause. And I haven't took a look at any of the discovery or any documents in Brandon's case. So I have no clue what they have.
The only thing that comes off the top of my head is the one text message from either Lori to Chad or Chad to Lori that says he missed. He can't do anything right.
Remember that. Yes. So that would be
for the next one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And like the jury just, because this jury found her guilty based on what they were presented, and we have questions about number 15, I know, but they didn't know anything about Idaho. They weren't supposed to, not like we do. And the previous charges and all those things that they could have added into this, but they had the questions. Where's Tylee? Remember, you weren't with us in chat, but when we were streaming it, one of our biggest questions was the jurors have to be wondering where Tylee's at. Because in opening statements, Lori mentions, Alex is no longer with us. But then we kept hearing about Tylee all through the trial. But then that's one of the things the jurors came out and said, that they're like, where's this Tylee? Why isn't she testifying? Then they find out why. We knew that was going to be a big question of theirs,
Speaking of juror number 15.
Your favorite, Joe?
My favorite, Joshua Ritter used my video that I made of a clip of juror number 15 speaking to the media afterwards. So we're going to watch that. Yeah, Josh Ritter gave me a shout out on Courtroom Confidential. It's pretty
nice.
Cool. Let's take a look at that.
Scott, while I have you here, your thoughts on the Lori Vallow case really quickly, because I know that you had followed that case a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious your thoughts and reactions to, we put on this whole trial. She defends herself. I was fully expecting her to testify, and then she didn't. And they deliberated for 3 hours before they find her guilty of murder. What was just give me your kind of gut reaction to everything.
Well, this I'll just say that I'm still batting 100 when it comes to the number of cases that do not convince me to defend myself pro se in a murder trial.
Yeah.
Lori Learns to Lawyer was not the successful hit that she thought it would be this time.
Yeah.
She had standby lawyers. I don't think she used them to.
I like that. Lori Learns to Lawyer.
Help on some of the questioning.
I like this guy.
But yeah, this was a poor decision on my part, but I think it was good for her in what she wants to accomplish, because I think this was her building a little black book of names of people of what happened, because she still has questions. She doesn't know how this all went down and she got caught and everything, and she was digging to find out who had wronged her, who had told, who had turned on her, and this was personal for her.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's a really good point.
That was
may have been, this whole circus may have been more
That makes
about
so
her
much sense with
personal
Lori.
curiosities than it was
Yes, it
about
does.
her even trying to prove her own innocence.
She was more upset that one of the witnesses didn't remember her green chili enchiladas than she was about trying to fight off the aggravation charge, which she stipulated to.
And I hear that you make a mean green chili enchilada. I've heard about this.
They are killer.
None of us want to try it.
The throat punch that my wife makes is delicious.
My wife makes a throw punch.
I want to show you something that another YouTube creator had put up today. It's a clip from Fox Local in Arizona, and it's an interview with one of the jurors right after the guilty verdict came out, and the creator is Joe Schmoe. So I want to give him a shout out for letting us use this clip, because he put up some captions. But I'm going to play it for you. It's very short, but I want to concentrate on one thing that he says about learning about Lori's prior convictions, and we'll get into this. I don't want to set it up any more than I need to. So let me just put this up here.
What are you doing, Josh? What are you doing? You got this.
Everybody needs to cut creators some slack.
Okay. Figured it out. Actually, can you guys see that okay? Or maybe I should do it like this.
We're not mainstream media.
Yeah, do you remember your reaction learning that she has been convicted in killing 2 children?
You know, I feel sorry for her. I mean, driving home yesterday, I'm just like, God, she's spending the next 3 lives in prison in a cell.
The next 3 lives in prison. How does he know that?
that's an awful thing to do. There's something wrong.
Thank you, Madeline. I appreciate that shout
Still,
out.
you just feel awful about it.
Wow.
So if you guys, caught that, it kind of went by quickly, but Joe put up those captions, which were very helpful. But
so Scott just goes, wow, which is exactly what I did when I heard this interview.
You did more than that. I've never seen Joe was like, I was like, oh shit, oh shoot. I was watching your live reaction to that and I was like, oh man, Joe's about to give somebody the business. I was here for it.
I was a little more than wow. I was like, what?
Yeah, there you go. We can pull it up and take a look at your live reaction. But no, I'm teasing him, guys. But yeah, that was such an interesting statement that he made, right? And then when I heard the two ladies also speak, that also did their interviews, I watched what they said and listened to what they said very carefully because I wanted to know if he said anything to them before their verdict, and they both act like he didn't.
Right.
I didn't.
Correct.
I didn't get the impression that he.
Pick up that either.
Right?
No.
Yeah, because you and I we talked about it briefly, but so what the hell was he doing though?
Yeah. How did he know? So either one of three possibilities. We have three possibilities. Either one, he misspoke, and he didn't really drive home yesterday feeling sorry for her serving 3 life sentences.
Okay. He said that part accidentally.
Right. Or 2, he lied on his juror questionnaire about whether he had prior knowledge of the case. Or 3, he violated the judge's God, the word just slipped my mind. His directive, the judge's directive to not research the case while it's going on, while the trial is going on. So it's one of those 3 things. It's got to be. There are no other options. All right. So, but Scott has some good points to make here. I'm going to continue playing this for a little bit because
somebody in chat was asking, was this after the deliberations but Pokemon answered. So yeah, this was an interview conducted with one of the jurors after the verdict was read, but he's speaking as if he was aware of her 3 Idaho convictions and felt sorry for her. And he acted like he learned that prior to his determination about her guilt or innocence. Isn't that right, Joe?
Absolutely.
Basically?
This was immediately after. So we're all outside gathered in the media area, and this guy slips by me, and I don't know how he slipped by me because I am looking for him. I want to talk to juror number 15 because I've had a thing about juror number 15 from the beginning, and
you have. I'm here to vouch for that.
Yeah, we need to have a little chat, buddy. So this was right after the verdict, and the judge put everybody in recess, dismissed the jury, said, jurors, you can stay in there and I'll come and personally thank you, or you can go ahead and head out. Whatever you want to do your thing. You can talk to people. You don't have to talk to people. This is immediately after the verdict. So when he says yesterday, he means Monday when he's driving home from the 17-minute deliberation that they had. How did he know on Monday evening that she was serving 3 life sentences in a jail?
So let me ask you this. Do you think that he found out accidentally, like on the drive home on that day, he turned the radio on in the car? And when it come on the radio and he didn't like turn it off or whatever he was supposed to do, like I would have just Bluetoothed my music to the car and been like, just to be safe. But that's me. I'm not juror 15, but yeah, did that happen, or did he go home and purposely watch the news? That, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's hard to gauge what he was. He's the odd one, So you've always had
he is so odd.
You've always caught a vibe about him. So did he seemed to me like, was he that neighbor? Do you know that one neighbor you got that's going to talk about everything and everybody? Is he that guy? Is he just so nosy he couldn't help himself? Do you know what I mean? You reminded me of a nosy neighbor.
Right. So what's your responsibility if you're driving home and you hear a radio talk
Right.
show? The
You're
name
not.
Lori Daybell comes up. You
You're
turn it
supposed to
off,
turn it
right?
off. You're not
Yeah.
exactly. You're not supposed to consume it in any form or seek it out in any form, or anything that could put you in jeopardy of hearing it. So you would avoid the news at all cost, including the radio.
Yep.
That's why
Keep
you
that shit
pop an
off.
old CD in or you Bluetooth your
Yep.
shit, whichever one you got access to.
Okay. Okay. USA Libertarian. Are you saying that Juror 15 loves Lori or loves me? And which one does he love more?
Oh, she's always got great questions. um, I gotta take a minute to think about that one. Damn.
So
I
here's a
think
good question.
I think Lori loves Joe. Like
Okay.
all of a
I
sudden,
haven't.
this random guy starts showing up at her Arizona trial, and she's like, "Where'd this guy come from? He's my next interview." Joe,
Okay.
Joe, start writing letters and build a rapport, and I guarantee you're going to get an interview. If you don't, I will.
So I haven't announced this publicly yet, but the last day of actual trial, not deliberations, but the actual like closing statements, the morning session, I was on the left side. So I was seated exactly in a direct line of eye contact with her between her two advisory council. So every time she turned around to talk to them, I was right there. And there absolutely was brief eye contact for a very little bit there on that.
I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, she's gonna try to portal you right on into her cell. She's like, come here, Joe Schmoe. I got sexy
So that's
hair.
like multiple. I've had multiple eye contact with this woman.
She knows you like her hair, so don't you worry none, Joe. Doesn't she, Pokey Mom? Like
she had a bad hair day that last day though.
She
like
had a
the day of the
couple.
verdict.
She had that one, and Megan pointed the same thing out that I got sidetracked with. And it was this one day, I think it was 3 or 4 days in, but she did the Bam Bam Pebble or Bam Bam Pebbles, the Pebbles Flintstone
Putting her hair
hairdo.
up top. Yeah.
But it was all like messed up in the back part. It wasn't straight. It was like, it's annoying. Like as a mom, I wanted to fix my child's hair, but it was Lori on TV. And I'm like, lady, you didn't do the back very well. So that was yeah. We were all making fun of Lori. Yeah, it was every day. It was a hair check for Lori.
Right. Yeah, that was not a good hair day. Okay. So Scott actually has a couple of good points that I want to go through a little bit more of this. Yeah, Shih Tzu hair, right? Could Juror 15 cause a mistrial? So Scott is going to say something here in a minute. He says Arizona, we may have a problem. So I want to hear this.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
What is he says, and this is supposedly the day that the verdict came out. He says, when I was driving in my car yesterday, I was thinking about how she's serving these life sentences, which to me, obviously you're kind of doing the same math I'm doing. Does that mean he was aware of these convictions? Right. Shore Life Creation says, how did he know yesterday?
Arizona, we may have a problem. that's where we're at. This would be terrible to redo a case at this point for everybody. It's terrible for the state financially. It's terrible for for Kay, for the family, everyone who'd have to testify again if this had to repeat, because we have a juror who potentially
who is that?
Had some information that he should not have had at the time when he had. It appears that he had it. I don't know the facts. I'd have to see when the time frame was of this interview. He might have walked out of court, pulled up his phone, and Googled Lori Vallow on the way down the steps. But the way he told the story,
no, yeah, okay, yep, right, okay. He's going to say the way he told the story was yesterday.
Yeah.
It sounds like he knew beforehand that she was serving 3 life sentences, which probably involved a Google search, probably involved some sort of watching of news or reading the story. That's one of the things the judges say you cannot do. You can't consider that. And they spend a lot of time and effort and money picking a jury that doesn't have that baggage from that previous knowledge.
I saw that Joe Schmoe was in the chat, so I want to give him a shout out.
Yes,
and
that
thank
was
you
Josh.
again for allowing us to use that clip and for putting that together. I agree with you, Scott. There he is. Thank you, Joe. I agree with you.
Anytime, bud.
First of all, I think we need to say, this is a clip caught. We don't know the full context. We don't know if that man misspoke, what he was talking about, what he meant by that, all of that. So I don't want to light everything on fire, not realizing the full.
He might be getting some questions.
He should be, like, whether it's from Trina or it's Judge Boreski, he needs to be called in somewhere. And
honestly,
clarify.
Well, if they let it go, great for Charles Vallow and the family. But under the law, can they let it go? And
Keep going.
And that they should be talking to him by now and figuring it out.
That's where you and I are the same, and most of the rest of the YouTube social media content creators differ, because everybody picks a lane, and
I can't go there.
No, you have to follow the rule of law. And if there is a juror that was tainted by prior information,
we got a problem.
Yes,
big problem.
And that's what Scott said. Arizona, we may have a problem.
Yeah, and I knew that the second you showed me that clip, and I heard what he said, and I was watching in real time with you there, and your reaction. We both knew what that meant, or the implication of what it could mean, and I know we haven't had a chance to discuss that yet, like this, but it's not a good look. It's not a good thing.
No.
But if I'm in charge of whatever's going on there, I'm already investigating and talking to this guy, because it was on a local media station. So it's not like they didn't see it. It wasn't just a YouTube clip of you outside the courtroom catching a comment, right? This is out there. And that's how you caught it. That's how we noticed it when you brought it out, when you were like, well, wait a minute, what's this? And so if we can see it, they've seen it.
Yeah. Yep.
He was saying. But if I am a defense attorney watching that, I'm losing my mind, right?
Yep.
Amen.
Did I just hear what I heard? This guy knew about the prior convictions at the time.
But the defense attorney in this case is in jail.
Exactly. well, and if she did see it, is she smart enough to catch it and call it? I don't think that lawyer Lori's learned enough yet. So we may be safe. Do you know what I mean? We might be safe because we got a shitty defense team. But yeah. Well, one of her little assistants pointed out.
Right.
I don't know.
I don't think her investigator is all that bright. I don't think he caught.
I don't think he cares.
Right.
He's like, I'm done with her. Please, I'm not even going to feed her anything. Nothing. I'm done with her.
He tried to schmooze with Detective Duncan, like on one of the last days of the trial, and I'm like, dude, that is so lame. Like,
well, the poor guy probably got assigned to her case. It wasn't like he's like, hey, I'll take it, and raised his hand. It wasn't like he signed on privately and got paid. He was probably assigned to the case, just like the paralegal and the assistant counsel. They were just doing their jobs.
Well,
they weren't there.
Yeah,
they were just trying. They weren't there because they chose to be there, right? They got picked to be there. So we got to give them a little bit of grace. But they were probably as fed up with her shenanigans as the rest of us.
Absolutely. And that very last day, the day of the verdict, she invited Pam Hicks to come up and sit at her defense table. And this was so bizarre to me. While we were on a break, like a 15-minute stretch / juror break, whatever it was, she and Pamela Hicks engaged in this conversation that was very intense. And I couldn't see, but Trace on the case was to my left, and far enough to my left that she could see that she was like laughing and joking with Pam Hicks while we were on this break. And I thought it was an intense conversation, like maybe a negatively intense conversation, because she hadn't decided whether or not to stipulate 100% yet. So
Well, Akasha just reminded me of something in that interview with Fox Arizona that we just recently after the guilty verdict. Lori made so they were talking about whether the jury knew about Idaho, and the female, I forget the girl's name that interviewed her, but she said, you know, they didn't know about Tylee. What did you think about that? And she's like, oh, they didn't know. And the girl's like, well, they weren't supposed to know. So, and Lori's like, yeah, I know they weren't supposed to know, but did they not know? So she was, and I forgot about that, Akasha. I just saw your comment. So is it something Lori already speculated? Is she smart enough to go there? If she's got access, they can watch TV in jail, y'all. It ain't like she don't have access to TV. They do. So I don't know.
She needs to watch my YouTube channel. I can help a girl
Well,
out.
she can't watch YouTubes. They don't have access to internet like that. They got their little iPad, do whatever they've got to do, but they don't get full on, here you go, you know, unless they got to in prison with a smuggled in phone, then they can get on Facebook and do all their business. That's a real thing. But in the county, she's not getting on the YouTube no more than Brian Koberger is, right? But she can watch the news in the they have those little pods and they have that little area with the TV set up, and you go in there and you watch your TV in the day room. These girls watch the news. Lori watches the news to see Lori on TV. How's she going to be the new freedom fighter for these women in jail and eating slop? Forced into, you know, giving up their right to a speedy trial. Because she keeps beating that home with a stick, even in her recent interview. I don't know.
Trevor's comment, Lori's baby voice and long, nasty hair must have had an effect on Juror 15. He said he felt sorry for her.
He was mesmerized by Lori. Oh my God, he was that guy, y'all. He's that one juror she finally got to up there flinging her hair around, standing sideways.
But he didn't have the balls to stand up to the rest of the jury. He's like, all right. He was the final.
I concede, right?
We saw in that dual interview with the blonde juror.
Yes.
They were together. He said, he admitted he was the final holdout.
Yeah.
Like he was the last one to be
And he was like not guilty right up to the very last minute, right?
Yes.
Pretty much. Even after learning about Idaho and feeling sorry for her, he was like, I guess, the lone wolf out there. So did Lori, that's the only juror she picked that felt empathy for her, I guess.
I told you that one of the very last days, he was just staring at her. Like there was a hard stare.
Oh my God, he must have fell in love with her over the trial. He saw that long, sexy hair, and he's like, oh, come here, mama. Lord help him. We in the South say, God, Lord, bless his heart.
Bless his heart.
And that don't mean I'm being nice to him.
Right. Mel, if I'm in Canada and I know all about it, how don't Arizonians know about it too?
Right.
That's a good question, but I literally, when I go to the store, when I go to the grocery store, the Ross Dress for Less to get clothes, wherever I go, I ask the people that I'm around, do you know about Lori Vallow Daybell? Do you know about this? And it is literally the majority of people know nothing about the case. Nothing.
Right. And I've always explained it too, because only a certain portion of us are on YouTube consuming true crime. The general public, for the most part, are not, right? It's a genre. So Idaho 4, everybody was like, they can never do anything outside of the state, blah, blah, blah. I know people who live right outside of Boise, and out of the 3, one of them's wife's into true crime. She is the only one that knew about Chad and Lori. She literally drove from her home to Rexburg because she's so into true crime for a photo of Chad's house. But her husband knows nothing about the case. Okay. So then I asked them questions one day. I was like, well, do y'all know about the Idaho 4 case? And they're like, no, we heard about, is that those kids in Moscow? I'm like, yeah. No, they don't, they're not watching it like we are. So if it doesn't come across their local news in the evenings, if you're a busy, say you're raising kids and doing all the things and working, are you watching a lot of the local news? You're busy during that time. So it's just not everybody. It's odd to think not everybody knows about a case the way we do, right? Because we forget that sometimes, but they don't. And Joe's right. You can go into the community where they're at, and people won't even know about it. I don't even watch my local news. My sister has to call me and tell me things, or my son will say, "Hey, did you see this?" Oh, dude, I'm in everybody else's true crime town. I'm not even in my own. it's kind of
Right?
sad. It's kind of sad. But yeah, Joe and Salty, did you watch the interview Lori did on Thursday with Brianna? I did. Okay, so Brianna is the girl from the Fox program that did the interview during the trial, and then she did the one right after. I'm sorry, let me take that back. She did the interview with Lori after Dateline and just did the one after the verdict read, right? That's Brianna, but yes, I did, if that's the one you're talking about.
I have
I don't think
not.
Joe's I don't think Joe's
No.
watched it yet.
I will.
But
I haven't
have.
watched either one of them, but I need to just.
You haven't watched either one of them?
No, I have not. Nope.
You're not a part of the conversation.
No, I'm not. All right, I'm gonna bow out. I'm gonna close out. Y'all can talk amongst yourselves. I'm gone. I tried to keep during the trial. I tried to keep my take on what was happening at the trial. So when I got into a groove, I would like to think I got into a groove where when I was sitting down at the trial, I was doing three things. So I was taking notes. I do handwritten notes. A lot of other reporters had laptops out there. I may have to like go down that road. I may have to get a laptop, like a smaller laptop that I can be more efficient on than handwritten notes, because there were times when I couldn't keep up with all that Trina K was like, all those text messages she's putting up on the screen. I'm like, I can't keep up with that. I can't keep up. I'm just going to do the best I can. But so handwritten notes.
And give yourself a little bit of grace. I told you, especially if they're going to be aired on TV, your bullet points, the things that jump out to you the most, things, because it's hard to, I can only imagine. And then you knowing you probably get yourself a little stressed out because you're trying to keep up, and we appreciate that and your take on it. But I think you need to give yourself a little bit of grace.
Right.
Mister.
And I think I did on this a little bit more. So one, taking handwritten notes, and I ended up being not as thorough in those as I was like in Delphi, but also I was tweeting at the same time. Like I have some threads.
Oh, we trolled your Twitter the whole time. We're not even ashamed of it.
And also I was trying to watch the jurors because you can't see those on the court TV feed. So I'm trying to watch them and get reactions from them if there are any. And to be honest, this jury was fairly stone-faced, like almost the entire time. There were times when yes, they were. Absolutely, they were. They were like very good at not showing emotion, not showing reactions.
Right. Well, we knew they were asking questions and all the things, but because they never show the jurors on a trial, an aired trial. But so that's interesting. Like which ones take naps and shit like that. You know what I mean? But for you to say
juror number 8,
and to watch their reactions.
Yeah, juror number 8. I'm not calling you out, but occasionally it looked like you weren't paying a whole lot of attention. And juror number 7. When Trina was doing her closing arguments and got to an hour and 15 minutes in, I'm pretty sure your eyes were closed and you were like, no.
Hey, confession, I might have painted my nails a time or two, but I was listening. And I almost did accidentally fall asleep during one day. I had the live stream up on the PC and I just took my phone and went and relaxed on the bed for a few minutes. Oh no, that was not a good idea. I was like, oh, holy crap, I got to get up. I'm live streaming. So lesson learned, do not lie down.
Oh, wait, is Janelle in here? Treva, is Janelle in here? I'm going to have to do an ad. See if Janelle's in here. Yeah, Akash, I did go to Delphi. I did not attend every trial like I did in this trial. This was an everyday thing. In Delphi, you had to go get there at like 3:30 in the morning and stand in like 35-degree weather for 4.5 hours. It was
The
just,
dumpster fire known as Delphi
yeah.
sucks because of all the trials that needed Joe there every day would have been that one, and it just wasn't feasible. And it wasn't Joe's fault at all. Mm.
Yeah, that one was over. All right, let's see how much more good information, because I like Josh and Scott weighing in on this. It's a good thing.
Yeah, it is.
This case.
And it doesn't
then
matter
we have-
that he feels sorry for her,
Right.
because the fact is he knew that she was convicted of murder.
Right. But then the defense attorney is sitting right there. She's in jail. She's not watching this video clip. She's not seeing these interviews. Maybe they're getting TV and maybe she's watching all the media on herself that she can, or maybe her appellate attorneys are watching it. But it did when Tiffany showed me this clip, I immediately thought, she said, "Is that a problem?" And I said, "That's a huge problem. That's a huge problem."
That's what I thought too, Josh. That's why I put it out there.
Yeah.
This could be a problem. It could be a huge problem. But I appreciate the fact, number one, that his assistant or whatever she is, Tiffany, that she recognized it, presented it to him, said, "Is this a problem?" But also then reached out to me and said, "Do you mind if we air this clip?" And I'm, of
That's
course,
the way. Right. That's the respectful way to do it. And the fact that she noticed that, and recognized it as for what it was, because we haven't even talked about it like on a live or anything yet.
No.
But
there are also copycats out there who have taken it and presented this as their own like light bulb moment. Like, oh my gosh, look what we just found.
Well, that happens across the board.
Copycats.
Yeah. Trust me.
I see you out there.
Yeah, I see you. We see you. We see you. It happens everywhere you go. And then you get on there and these creators, "I told you so. I told you so." Okay, we get it.
Imitation is the sincerest form
Yeah.
of flattery.
Get
That's
used
all.
to it. Welcome to the streets of YouTube, Joe Schmoe.
All right.
It's a bad place sometimes.
Right. Had they asked people, "Have you ever heard about her before?" And they said, "Yes, I have, but I carry no bias," that would be one thing. But if these are people who say, "I have no idea about these prior cases," and then had gone about actually looking it up, that is a major problem. And that is something that even could be grounds for a retrial, for a mistrial and retrial in this case. Crazy stuff. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if anything comes of it. But it was just an interesting thing that I wanted to run by you tonight while I had you here.
Yeah, that was a crazy case to watch. Absolutely. I will say that Lori, probably with the help for her standby counsel, did a better job at being pro se than many pro se defendants. Yeah. As far as understanding the process, even though she didn't understand some of the definitions of key words like hearsay. Hearsay is not just a question that has a yes or no answer. She had to be educated through the court process. But she did better than most, probably because she's spent more time in court than most.
That's a really good point. She did do better than most.
She
but
did.
Here's the thing about this trial is she had some ideas on how to introduce reasonable doubt into the state's case. And she never could land the plane on those ideas. She would introduce them and then Trina would object. Yeah. And the judge would say, "Okay, you need to rephrase it differently. You need to ask it differently." And she wouldn't. She would just go on to the next question. I'm like, "Girl, no, he just told you how to ask the question. So do that."
Well,
and I'm not
part of her.
So yeah. Hold on. Anybody who thinks that I'm defending her or that I'm for her or that I think that she's not innocent, that's not it. I'm strictly talking about the legal principles of defending yourself pro per in court in Arizona. Strictly, it has nothing to do with her. It has to do with the fact that you make an argument, you poke holes, you provide reasonable doubt. but you have to land the plane at some point in time. You can't just move on. When Trina objects, you can't just move on.
I agree with you, and it's I looked at it from a legal standpoint, and I had to remind. Sometimes I was looking at lawyer Lori and not defendant murderer Lori. I was looking at two people, right? But a lot of Lori's problem with that is, you're right, she couldn't land the plane because she couldn't get out of her own way sometimes.
Yep.
Because it was more about like an investigation to who did me wrong, like he was saying earlier, versus her knowing how to land what she was trying to say. And you're right, she had a couple of good moments. She had a couple of good arguments that could have went somewhere but didn't. And that's her own fault. Because I can play defense attorney and prosecutor today or tomorrow. It's whatever. I look at the law too, especially once we're at trial, because that's what matters. You know, that's what makes or breaks it.
What Scott said in the beginning of this cracks me up, because he's like, this is case number whatever number, where I am 100% convinced that I will never represent myself pro se.
Oh, yeah. I mean, come on. You can assist in your counsel without being your own lead attorney, right?
Yeah.
Lori just didn't like the fact that she couldn't tell attorneys, go in there and fight my case this way, because they're going to look at her and say, you're a crazy lady. They did that to her in Idaho. They would not bring forth the argument she wanted to bring forward, which was nobody was murdered here. This was a this, and that. Lori wanted to make sure this time Lori came out and told Lori's story the way Lori wanted it told, and bring in the religion, because they're not going to let me if I let them be lead attorneys. They're going to advise me not to.
And the only way to do that was to represent herself.
Exactly.
But I've heard that also she wanted to represent herself because she told the attorneys in Idaho, and I think it was Tom that told me this. She wouldn't let them go after Chad.
No, she wouldn't. She never once threw Chad Daybell under the bus. Not one single time. And we all wondered every single time his attorney appeared at her trial, because hers was before his, was Chad about to throw Lori under the bus? What's he actually doing sitting in there watching Lori's trial every day? Chad's attorney. But there he was. And he was allowed. And then Chad didn't throw Lori under the bus either.
Right.
Are they communicating with one another is my question. Are they writing letters back and forth? That's what I want to know.
They opened up a portal in the toilet.
You know they get to each other, right? And from cell to cell. Shit, they're planning their exoneration right now.
Yep. That's going to happen.
You know it. Her Jesus told her.
Pro se defendants. But still, this is not when it's something so personal, especially. I mean, maybe if you want to represent yourself for a traffic ticket, go for it, you know, but where your life's on the line or your freedom's on the line, I'd call a lawyer.
Yeah.
They're better.
I actually think that her representing herself backfired her in a more catastrophic way than she realizes, because she wasn't so awful. Had she been really awful,
this is
she
a good
may
point.
have garnered.
This is a good point. Pay attention, people. This is a really good point that Josh makes here.
Some sympathy on the part of the jury. They may have looked and been like, this lady doesn't know what she's doing, but she's up here trying to represent herself. We're going to give her a little bit of benefit of the doubt. But she was just good enough, I think, for them to go, okay, we're not giving you any extra points here. You kind of know what you're doing, so we're going to judge your performance as if we would any other defense attorney. But then she was just bad enough to not effectively defend herself. She fell into this like kind of sweet spot of awfulness.
Yeah, she did. There were objections.
I need some merch that says that sweet spot of awfulness.
That's a great analogy.
The prosecution led throughout that trial, and it was not just blatant. It was.
Thank you, Scott. Like I have felt that from day one. Like Trina K led every witness, every question, every piece of evidence. She's like, so did the evidence tell you this? Yes. Did the evidence tell you that? Yes. Did the evidence
She
say
was,
this? Yes.
yeah, she was very effective. She was clear, concise. One of the commenters a minute ago was right. Her emotions were in check the whole time.
But
You
she
know,
also read every witness. And if Lori had
Mhm.
had a decent defense attorney that would have started objecting from day one, then she wouldn't have gotten away with all of that leading that she did.
No, there would have been some objections. There were a couple of times Lori could have objected, really good ones that she failed to do so on. But I
More than
think,
a couple, yeah.
yeah, and I think the prosecution was like, you know what? I don't know if she'll pick up on this, but here I go.
Right.
And if
No, if
she
she's not
doesn't
going to
pick up
object,
on
I'm
it,
going to roll with it. Oh, yeah.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly,
she's rolling
yeah,
with it.
Blatant.
that's what you get,
It was
Lori.
glaringly obvious that they were leading on almost every question with almost every witness, and Lori didn't object. And
No.
you know, if you don't object, there's no foul, and the judge just let it run.
You know what it was? That whole trial was a dumpster fire, which.
How close are you to Lori?
Crap.
My mom passed away.
Wow, that jumped fast. All right. We're going to get to that in a second. No, Lori doesn't understand what leading means. She doesn't understand a lot of things. Mel, so I kind of casually watched Chad's trial. I didn't like intently watch it. But that wouldn't surprise me about John Pryor at all.
What about it? I didn't see the quote. Oh, sorry.
Said he threw Lori under the bus during Chad's trial.
Well, to an extent, but not like Chad didn't blame Lori for everything, right? Like he didn't. Chad Daybell's a weirdo. Yeah.
What? Where are you coming up with that? He's a
What?
weird.
Oh, I thought you were like a comment in the thing. Oh, like,
No.
he's
No,
just,
I'm
even to
responding.
watch him at his trial, they had the fixed camera, and you could see the gallery and all, the way he just sat there. It just he looked like a damn demon. And I'm not like, I couldn't get past that thought in my head. He just looks. Then I found a picture online the other day that really creeped me out. And it was him. And he was a grave digger. And he's literally sitting in a grave, leaning up against a headstone with a dirt mound beside him. And I don't know. It was weird. And I was like, why did I see this? Why did this just come across my feed like that? It was so odd. I didn't like it. I don't like that dude.
Treva, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that. That's very generous.
Nice. Oh, very nice. Yep, Joe's done a great job. We've Miss Shorty lives in the future over there in her world, and we were living in the future through Joe Schmoe during Lori's trial. We stalked his Twitter for updates because we didn't care about getting a heads up, except for the verdict read. We were like, no spoiler alerts, Joe, on that one. But the rest of the time during the breaks and the lunches and all of the things, yeah, we would go troll and take a look at what was being posted. We certainly appreciated it.
So now we saw the trial dates for the 2022 case, which is Brandon's attempted murder. So I want to kind of get into that. So into the next trial. But I want to make sure we're going in order. I think the next thing that's appropriate would be, so Melanie, then Boudreau, now Pulowski, and a lot of the family call her Melanice, were in that inner circle that were involved in the castings and whatever all that crazy cult shit was. And her husband was Brandon. And back, if you remember the text messages, she pretended to be sick the days leading up to Charles's murder, because Brandon was supposed to be a part of the intervention in getting Lori's temple recommend revoked. That's what Charles's goal was. That wasn't necessarily Adam's goal. That wasn't necessarily Brandon's goal. But they were all like, she's out on cloud nine. Like she's somewhere wacko, and we need to bring her back to Earth. And Charles's way to do that was to revoke her temple recommend, because she was going to like the LDS temple daily, and that's not a normal LDS behavior. You don't go to the temple daily. You may go once a month. You may go once a year. And that's like, but daily is like completely unusual.
An obsessive behavior. She
Yes.
was becoming obsessed with the religion.
Very much so. So, but I want to watch body cam footage of Charles Vallow before he was unalived, dealing with the Gilbert Police Department. And this is back when Lori took his truck and moved it from the airport and locked up the house and did a whole bunch of crazy things. And he comes back and finds all of this stuff, because I think we're going to see this police officer involved in Brandon's investigation too, and to his. Gosh, I don't know what order we're going to do this. Let's do it this first. Let's see Charles first, because Charles just received justice. But if Gilbert police had paid more attention and listened to him better, maybe he would still be alive. All right, StreamYard, where you at? Present. Here we go. Body cam footage captures Charles Vallow in front of the hotel. This is the hotel in Gilbert.
So is she in there?
What's going on? Why is she here and you're not here, or are you staying here with her?
Long story. She's had kind of a break from reality. She thinks you're LDS?
Yes.
She thinks she's married tomorrow now in the past.
So you see that police officer to the left. I think she was the one that also responded to the shooting of Brandon's window out of his car. But this is January 31st, 2019. So this is like right around that time when Lori just disappears. She disappeared for like 70 something days. She abandoned JJ. She abandoned Charles. She basically abandoned everybody and was flying around with Chad for like 70 something days.
You think she's what? Married to Morona, the top of the temple.
Angel, LDS. Angel.
They don't let me in there. Probation, and she's.
Did you?
Yes.
Did you hear that other cop? He goes, "They don't let me in there."
Yeah, that's always cracked me up.
Okay, here are two things to note. Charles wears his watch on his left hand, which as a left-handed person, I have never done. I have always worn my watch on my right hand.
Are you serious?
Yes.
That's
I'm
interesting
left-handed.
because so am I.
Huh.
But if I wear a watch, which I don't anymore, but back when I did, it was always on my left hand. Everyone told me I was odd for doing it that way.
So your computer mouse, do you operate your mouse with your left or your right hand?
I use my left now because my right shoulder bothers me too bad, but I can use my right.
Right is
Weird.
my natural mouse hand. I use my right hand for the mouse. Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy.
But he also has his wedding band on there, and I wonder in his date with Nancy Joe if he was wearing that wedding band.
Oh, that's a good question.
I want to ask Nancy Joe. So Lauren from Hidden True Crime got an interview with Nancy Joe. Of course she did. She gets all the interviews. But that's a question that I would have asked Nancy Joe. Was he wearing a wedding band? on that date on July 10th, 2019. Because she said in court, if I had known he was that married, and I don't know what that means, your interpretation is as good as mine. If I'd known he was that married, I probably wouldn't have dated him or gone on a date with him.
Because she was under the impression they were separated and probably headed toward divorce. So that's what she meant by that. But Lori trying to make it look like something it wasn't. Nancy
Yes,
Joe wasn't having
absolutely.
it. Nancy Joe just wasn't having it.
Well, Charles had the divorce paperwork and she was running from it. She was hiding from it. That's probably why she was gone for 70 something days, because she didn't want the divorce paperwork served on her.
She didn't want to be served on it. So she was avoiding it at all costs because it needed to be her idea.
Well, she had other ideas apparently.
Yeah, her idea wasn't to divorce because then she wouldn't have got shit.
Right.
The second coming is happening next year, so there's a prophet.
Okay.
He knows it. She knows about it. She meets with Moroni, Jesus Christ, face to face in the temple every day. I've tried to support her as much as I could, but it's gotten really, really bad lately. She's had a break. She says, I'm Nick Schneider. I've taken over Charles's body, and Charles has been killed. I'm going to kill you. You're going to be murdered today or tomorrow. I can do it. I'm not going to my priesthood with my power. She does priesthood blessings. She does.
So who's Nick Schneider? Okay.
That's who I am.
Who's Nick Schneider? Get it right, lady. It's Ned Schneider. Get your demons right. Get your zombies right here. Get your possessive evil spirits right. It's Ned Schneider.
Ned. Jeez.
Okay. Right. Okay. So he's not at church. He's not.
She took my truck from here. Suspect she took my truck from the airport last night when I flew in. She canceled my flight. I had to buy a ticket to come back home. I've got a 6-year-old with special needs.
Right. And he's safe at school somewhere.
Right.
Okay.
For now. If she knows I'm here, she's going to go get it.
Okay. What car? What is she driving?
A black Infiniti QX80.
And you've looked all through the parking lots.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Do you have the license plate on that?
It's KDM 62 or 63 or 67. It's handicapped. Okay.
Nothing in the pin. There it is.
Oh, wow. They had an ADA plate on the Infiniti. That's interesting.
$5,000 in cash out of that account yesterday. I mean, I just never.
How many thousands in cash? I got to hear that again. She emptied his bank account of how many thousands in cash?
I can't remember how many. Yeah, I can't recall exactly how much he said, but she did.
It's like 25, 30, 35, something like that, if I remember right.
I mean, I just never thought she would do anything like this, but she's just lost touch with reality. I'm not me.
She lost touch with reality.
It's just, she's unhinged. She's scared the crap out of me.
Okay. Now, I'm assuming you guys have phones. Is that an iPhone?
Yes.
Are you able to track to see where her phone is right now?
Her
I
phone's
hear
right here with me.
iPhones.
The phone's with me.
Oh, your phone. Now, how do you get her phone?
Because it was in the car this morning when she pulled up to school. I took the keys out of her purse out so she couldn't leave. That's when I called you guys.
Okay.
Somehow she has a set of keys in left with my dog. And so I don't know where I saw this in her purse.
She's got the dog.
So
She's got JJ.
We're going to give me the key to the room. I was going to go, if you guys will come with me, see if she's in the room.
We can't just go in. If you're not allowed to go in, we can't either. We can just. Okay, that's going to be up to them if they allow you to go in. Now, we can't. Now, you guys are married, so there shouldn't be. No, we're waiting for right now. What we're doing is my sergeant wanted to get some information from you. I was about to call you, but then Gary said you were here. We are just going to wait a second. My sergeant, they're on their way because we have a sergeant training. So they're going to be here. They have the paperwork. So if she is here, we knock on the door. She's here. That's why we need the paperwork in hand. Okay, so we can take her.
Tell me again real quick. What's her first name? Lori. And tell me again about the vehicle. It's a black Infiniti QX80. And try that license plate again.
KDM 62. It's KDM something.
KDM 62, 63,
Something like this.
67.
Handicap plate.
Handicap.
Yes.
I'm curious why the Infinity had a handicap plate, an ADA plate.
Because of the kid, one of the JJ was handicapped legally. If you're on
Okay.
disability, well, state of Florida, if you're on disability, all you require is a letter from your doctor, right? And you get a handicap parking decal with the numbers issued and to use the handicap parking if you do
Okay.
receive disability. So that it
So,
would have come
so
hand in
they could park-
hand.
yeah. So they could park closer to the door so JJ didn't have
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
Okay.
They could use handicap parking because of the decal.
Gotcha.
Is it registered to you?
Yes.
Spell your last name again.
V as in Victor, A-L-L-O-W.
Vallow? Okay. Okay. That's an SUV that you're describing, right? Okay, I know what it is.
I'm gonna go check and see if I can go in there, and I'll be right back. Okay, sir.
Okay. Also find out if they'll give you permission to go into that room.
Well, I guess she had a second set of car keys and she was able to leave the school. That's why Team 1 wasn't able to get a hold of her. So we're not sure if she's here or not. He's thinking that he would be able to get in the room. And I said, that's up to you and that's up to the hotel. That's not what we do. So I told him that we're waiting for you with the paperwork. And that's what we've got going on right now. He thinks she's still staying here just for the reason is that he was able to grab that key out of her purse in the car at that school in Central.
So she's staying in a hotel in Gilbert in January, the end of January of 2019, when she's abandoning all of them. Is this the beginning of the abandonment period? Like that 72, 74, 76 days, whatever it was. And then she just magically shows up in Austin or Houston, wherever it was, in March.
I think so.
February, March. Yeah, I think this is the beginning of the abandonment period. Yeah. So I wonder if Chad is there also. Like if that's her hotel room, I wonder if Chad's there. Interesting.
Area, wherever that school was. All right. Okay. Yeah, I'll give you just what she's saying and the reason the 909 came out. Yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. We're gonna, how about we all meet back at the car? We are on the north side of that home 2, which is just west of this building. It's the building west. It's the other hotel. We'll all meet right there. All right, we'll see you in a minute. Bye. Okay, so if his truck is gone, how did he get here?
I have no idea. He didn't tell me that. By the way, I have that tour at 10 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
Oh gosh, you better go take care of that tour at 10 o'clock. The hell? Oh my God.
And the female cop always seemed to me like she was being way more helpful than this other guy.
Yes.
Like he was just so uninterested or whatever. He's just like whatever, this domestic stuff. But she appears to take it a little more seriously.
Yeah.
Or she's trying to get to the bottom of it at least, if I feel like, But yeah, he's got to go do other things.
He's got a tour at 10 o'clock.
A tour of what?
All right, well, we'll go. He wants a sidebar before we do it. Where did he go?
He went back in to find out whether or not they'll give him permission to enter into that room.
No, I don't want him going into that.
He's
He
not
told
going to
him
the
not
room.
go to
He's
the room.
just,
Okay.
he's
Let's
just.
go back over to our cars. They'll be here in just a minute or two, and he wants we need to do a powwow.
Okay.
So
let me just.
She's
I'll
on
go
it.
over there. I'm just going to
She
tell
is.
him because he's.
She's on it. This gal is on it. Like, she knows what she wants to do. She knows what she doesn't want him to do. She knows, like, she's on it. I like this gal.
Gone to the lobby. I just want him to know he needs to wait around here
now,
so we can find
the
him.
biggest thing. Okay, so she wants to marry Moroni, which is great, fantastic, fine, and dandy.
She wants to marry Moroni, which is just great, fantastic, and dandy.
Yeah, this lady kind of knows what's the gist of this. The other guy don't have a clue.
Nope, he doesn't.
He's like, whatever. This is crazy talk. I gotta go do my tour. Peace out. And she's like, hold up. This lady's crazy.
She wants to marry Moroni.
Okay.
Oh man.
You do you, Lori.
Sorry guys, this isn't funny. This is a serious subject, but she wants to marry Moroni, which is all just fine and dandy.
They're all serious subjects, but there's going to be times we have to laugh at some of this stuff. You know, it is what it is.
Yeah, thank you. I got to every once in a while. I got to.
That's not as bad as the
Are you
UFO
on?
thing. Yeah, I'm gonna go off.
Me too.
All right. Turn off the body cams. There we go. Yep. Salty girl, you're right. The female cop said she was LDS, so she might understand more. But I guarantee you she never wanted to marry Moroni.
Yeah.
I guarantee you. Like, maybe I should try and interview her. Maybe I should track her down, figure out who she is, and see if she'd be willing to have an interview. That'd actually be a really awesome interview, wouldn't it? But she might be on the witness list for the next trial because somebody tried to kill Melanie's husband, Brandon Boudreaux. Let's take a look at that. Let me advance forward next. Boop. So a lot of this is blurred, and I couldn't find one that wasn't blurred. So we're going to have to watch it blurred, and I apologize. So please just hang with us. This is when somebody took a shot at Brandon Boudreaux, who was married to Melanie Boudreaux at the time, which is Lori's niece. And they started figuring out that he was dark, that maybe he was possessed by evil spirits and had to be taken out. So bear with me for the blurry video. I'm looking for a non-blurry video, and I haven't found one yet. I think maybe it's all been blurred out for one reason or another.
Hi there. So what's going on?
Someone shut my window out.
Okay, give me a little bit more than that.
Yeah, so I was just pulling in.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed a green Jeep Wrangler.
Okay.
It's like a
So I think this is the same lady cop that was involved in the last video that we watched with Charles. I've been told that it's the same one. I don't get a clear picture of her face ever in this.
Yeah, it sounds like her, and I don't think I've seen a really good, clear version of it. Like there was something with the body cam, you know what I mean?
like a pukey green
Okay.
color. Had a Texas plate.
Mhm.
I just moved in like a week ago, so I
Okay.
thought maybe it was just my neighbor.
Okay.
So as I was kind of pulling in, they lifted their like back window.
Okay.
Saw muzzle. They shot.
Are we talking a real gun, a BB gun?
It's got to be like a BB gun or an airsoft.
Okay, so they shot. Then what happened?
So
It hit my window, and instead of turning in, it scared me really bad.
Okay.
So he says BB gun or airsoft gun, but then he changes his mind later in the conversation because he thinks that he saw a silencer on it. Which
remember, okay. Now think about what Tammy said about when she was shot out, what she described seeing. Almost the same thing.
Yep.
Interesting, right?
Okay.
I'm getting shot at, so I drove straight.
So okay.
I drove straight really fast.
Okay.
Pulled around the corner, got my phone out, called 911, sat there, drove a little further up. I watched them come around the corner.
What do you mean coming around the corner? Come around the corner where?
So I drove up there. I drove.
Okay. Gotcha.
Right, went a little further.
Okay.
Parked by, there's a park right there.
So he went northbound on that street.
Turned right, and I watched him turn right down here, and I knew there was only one way out of this neighborhood.
Okay.
On Pecos and Ritter, so I told that to the dispatcher.
Okay, so he was on Ritter. He went, but you don't know if he went onto Pecos. You just know Ritter Road.
Well, he didn't get on Ritter. He stayed on this, and he came out on. He had to have gone out on Pecos because that's the only way.
Oh, he stayed in the neighborhood. He did not go out to Ritter. I got you covered. Okay.
And I was nervous, so I was kind of waiting because I didn't want him to follow me.
So we don't know where, if he went on Pecos, left, right.
I don't. I didn't follow him anymore. I was a little uncomfortable.
Okay. 11-22, just for information on units, left the neighborhood south toward Pecos and unknown from that location. Okay.
So it was really loud, so that's why I didn't.
And just so you know, we are probably going to see this in court the beginning of June because this is the primary evidence of the first responder to respond to this attempted murder. So maybe we'll see it unblurred. I hope we'll see it unblurred. In this last trial regarding Charles's murder, they showed the body-worn cam, but they showed it without audio, which was odd to me. I'm like, why did they censor out the audio? Is there something in there that's not admissible in court? Or I don't know. So they didn't start the audio until Officer whatever his name was like talking to Lori and Tylee in front of the car. But we're probably going to see this in trial, in a few weeks, in a month and a half, whenever it comes in.
Huh?
It could have been maybe.
Well, let's look. So you were just pulling into the driveway. They were sitting here.
Yeah, so I was.
So were they facing then west? Because if they opened the back.
Yeah, he opened the back, and there had been two people, I think.
Okay.
They were parked right here.
Right, facing that way. Gotcha.
And so my window was like perfectly aligned because I was kind of starting to pull in.
Okay, so you didn't totally pull in yet. Okay. Okay.
You can see my window. It shattered, but it didn't go through, which means it couldn't have been a real bullet. I didn't think about that.
Oh. Whoa, hello. Is that who's? Okay, I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah, oh wow, I didn't see that.
Yeah. Is this going to shut on me if I get close?
No.
Okay. Well, I don't think that's a BB gun.
One Frank calling is Ninja 459. It's been holding for over 2 hours.
All right.
District 6.
All right. So it looks like they shot up anything. It'd be there. All right. So you just moved in. Okay. You just moved. Okay. So was this a vacant home at the time?
Previously, yeah.
Okay.
It's a rental.
All right. So you're the owner though, right now? Or you still, you're, okay, so you're just renting it. Did the owners of the house, can I open?
Yeah.
Is this, how do you open this door? Go ahead.
Right.
Ah, look at you. Anyway, did the owners of the house say anything to you who was renting the house before you or anything? No. All right. Do you have any enemies? Anybody that you...
Just went through a divorce. There was some crazy stuff that happened with her aunt, killed her husband, but I don't...
The only thing he can come up with is, I'm going through a divorce, or I just went through a divorce, and her family. And he does it twice. He doesn't just say it once; he says it twice.
Yeah, I will be surprised if this one doesn't come into court, because it is the first responder right after he called, and yeah, he makes these statements right there to her.
And he literally cannot think of another scenario of another enemy of anybody who would try to unalive him. He literally can't think of anything else.
And he knows, now you got to keep in mind, he knows what him and Charles were discussing before Charles passed, all the things that have been happening and going on. Now he's being shot at. Could you imagine what I was going through his head? And knowing your wife ain't trying to listen to you?
Nope.
Man.
I can't get divorced fast enough for that.
Oh my gosh. That would turn you off from marriage for the rest of your life if you're normal.
So, but he does have a new wife. She shows up in court with him and she supports him. So
good for him. I mean, Melanie jumped right on back into the fires. I mean, why not?
He's
him.
He
actually seemed like
really,
a good guy. He seemed like a good guy to me.
He's a good looking guy. Like, people are going to make comments about that when they see him like testify at trial. He is a really good looking guy. Like, he could be like a Hollywood actor, like, for real.
I've seen him, and he testified at Chad's trial as well. He's a good looking man, but by all accounts, from everything I've seen, he was a good man and a good father, you know. And so to be in a position where your damn wives are the ones trying to kill you, you know, and you're trying to save your babies. Yeah, but then they got their kids to worry about, you know. It's scary to walk away from a relationship knowing that your kid is still going to be exposed to certain things. There's nothing you can do about it.
That's a good point.
I fortunately haven't been in that position, but I know people who are forced into that position until the courts sort it all out. And unfortunately, even when court orders are in the picture, you still got cops who don't take this seriously enough sometimes. They blow it off instead. Even when you're trying to tell them, this happens too many times.
Yeah, and I think they did with Charles. I think they kind of blew it off. I think she was a little more investigative into it. And in the end, I think they had to let it go. But Chandler PD with the other thing, with like Alex admitting that he was the shooter and then just being like, okay, you were the shooter.
Oh, yeah. Thanks a lot. Thanks for your report. Have a nice day.
Yeah.
No. Sit and miss me with that.
I would hope that has nothing to do with this.
Okay. Did you live here in the valley before? Where'd you move from? I'm sorry?
I've lived here for 10 years.
Okay, so you moved, where'd you move from? Here in Gilbert, or?
I just sold a house over on Quinn, just right by the
Okay. And no issues at work, no issues, enemies or anything? Okay.
Other than the only people that I could even think of would be that group. But
the family, your ex-wives? Yeah. All right. It's kind of weird. All right, let me grab my camera and get some pictures. All right, so you were coming here. Did it look like a long rifle? Did it look like a rifle type?
Yeah, it looked like a rifle or something. Like there was a muzzle. There was like some kind of a muzzle thing on it.
Mm-hmm.
And they just lifted up the back gate and shot.
Okay. So they were.
Hear that? Did you hear that? There was like a muzzle thing on it, and they just lifted up the back gate and shot.
Yeah. They were in Tylee's Jeep.
So was Tylee's Jeep like a camouflage green?
I don't remember the exact what it looked like, but when they describe it, and Brandon is going to say, I don't know if it's this interview he says it or where it said, but it appeared to be that what the shooter was driving that morning was Tylee's Jeep.
Mm.
He was the only person that's the only person he knew of with a Jeep.
Right.
Shooting this way. Okay. All right.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, 32.25. Go ahead and 1022. 11 pulse with 3. You're much closer. I'll go ahead and have you.
Yeah, I think this is the same gal. I think this is the same.
Hey, head over this way to the house. I want to show you something. Yeah, I think it might be adults. But yeah, I think this might be a real gun too. Not sure. I just want to show you real quick. Right here, right in the street here on Phelps. He was heading westbound, just about to drive into his driveway. And the green Jeep was parked right here on the side, right next to his house, just west of the house, facing west. And whoever was in the back opened up the back of the Jeep Wrangler, the little door in the back, whatever you want to call it, the flip thing, and shot once.
So if that's a hard top, you can't open that unless the tailgate's open because the spare tire is in the way.
Usually, yeah. I don't remember if it was. I don't remember which one it was, honestly. But what about the little window? Can you still pop? Because it doesn't. Well,
No,
those tires
the
sit
spare-
pretty high up.
Yeah, the spare tire is in the way of opening
Yeah,
that up.
that's true.
Did they take off the spare tire? Oh, let's go look at that.
Yeah.
Let's go look at
Can't
that.
remember.
The storage unit video next to see if they took off.
Oh
the
yeah. Okay.
All right, we'll check that out next after this. But this cop has good instincts. She's like, "Hey, I'm not sure this is kids. I think this may be adults. I think it may be a real gun. I need you to come over and help me check this out and investigate this." She has great instincts. I like this chick.
Doing her darn job, right? Isn't it nice to see?
It is.
So the guy didn't make it into his driveway. It shot and it actually hit the driver's window, blew out the window. And so the guy got scared and kept driving westbound. And then as he's round the corner, that's when the Jeep Wrangler took off, kind of circled in the neighborhood, and then headed toward Pecos. Don't know where. So I'm going to take some pictures. Okay, bye. Where was the window? Where did that land? Because I'm assuming you picked that up.
It actually stayed on my door.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, when I drove around.
So when you got out of your car right now is where it lays.
Because you saw it just opens automatically. As soon as
Yeah.
it opened, the window fell off, and so I.
That's just weird how that opens. That would freak me out. All righty. All right. So whereabouts? What were you say? Were you about right here?
Right here.
Okay.
Saw the tailgate lift up.
Yeah.
Pointed the gun at me. Shot.
Okay. So it would have went.
I heard a loud boom.
Yeah.
My window shattered, and then I just.
Right. I'm trying to figure out trajectory.
she has trouble saying trajectory, but he said, "I heard a loud boom and my window got shot out." So That's pretty significant. A loud boom. Airsoft guns don't make a loud boom. Paintball guns,
No.
loud boom. BB guns don't make a loud boom.
Nope. But one meant to hurt you will.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. Okay. There's nothing.
It's stuck in there.
You think so?
Absolutely.
That's what I was wondering, but I don't see. It's got to be back in here. I'm not touching. Anyway.
Who's pissed off at you? How long is that? Really?
Wait, did that other cop just say who's pissed off at you?
Yeah, he did. You heard. I was wondering if you heard that, because I sure did.
Who's pissed off at you?
I would have been. My first reaction would. I'd have said something. Excuse me. What the hell gives you that idea?
My wife's aunt?
They claim self-defense. He died at their house. It was in Chandler.
Whoa! Whoa!
Yeah.
Whoa! They just talked about Charles's death.
He tells them when he died. He died in June. You haven't seen this one yet, huh?
I haven't done.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I perused it at ground level, like 35,000 feet.
Right.
Holy shit!
It's revealing. It's revealing.
How long is that? Really? Who just killed her husband?
Who just killed her husband? He just killed her husband? Did you hear that?
Yeah.
That I don't think that's Brandon saying that.
Go back. Look, do it again.
Yeah, I don't think that's Brandon saying that.
Who just killed her husband?
Who just killed her husband?
I think that was a cop.
I swear to God, that's what he said was who just killed her husband.
I think that because Brandon's starting to tell them about Charles dying back in, and then they're like, and then that's a question someone just asked.
Okay.
And it feels like it's a cop asking the questions. There's stuff we're not hearing.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think he's gathering that from what Brandon's telling them.
That's not Brandon saying that. That's a cop, I think.
I mean, that's the cop asking Brandon.
Right. Or reconfirming what Brandon said to him off camera.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. He's going by things that Brandon was starting to tell them. And that was a question posed to Brandon. That's what I felt.
So this is before any charges or anything had been filed in that case. So Brandon already knows that Lori killed Charles. Brandon knows.
Yeah, they know. He knew.
Brandon knows.
Kay knew. Kay and Brandon both knew at this point. They knew.
Oh my God. All right.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to keep playing this time. I'm going to stop.
Okay.
I promise. We're going to keep playing.
You're good. Hey, I'm just as bad.
Who just killed her husband?
They claim self-defense. He died at their house. It was in Chandler.
Claim self-defense. Died at their house in Chandler.
Contact at 103 Charles Lobby.
Fuck. I just said the F-bomb. I dropped the F-bomb. I didn't mean to. Sorry, guys. No, I'm not. He's taking pictures. Okay, this is the gal. This is the law enforcement officer. She's taking pictures with her phone.
All right. So he's right about here. Okay, you guys want to go just right over here for just a sec? Let me get some pictures real quick.
Where were you on the car? No, I put in the street.
You all be playing 3 in it.
All right. Now, the green you're talking about, are we talking that type of green?
Like a hunter green?
Like a pukey green.
Okay, that's kind of more of a pukey green. Are we talking a chartreuse? I know it sounds like got a gazillion colors, green.
Let me just
Chartreuse.
Look at your nose.
Chartreuse?
He's got that nose.
Did she just break out chartreuse? I don't even think that's green. I think that's like a purplish color.
Are,
I'm gonna
okay.
Google it now.
Are we
I
into
guess
like the big giant crayon box now?
we're in like the 120.
Remember the 120 count Crayolas? Oh my God.
Green and yellow variations. Okay, chartreuse can be a
Okay.
green variation.
'Cause
All
I
right.
used to love to read the colors on them. What they named them. It was cool.
It was always a mystery to me if yellowish green was more yellow or more green.
Oh, don't have the great debate right here and now.
If reddish brown was more red or more brown.
Chat, weigh in. We got to get this solved. We got to solve a mystery for once. Oh my goodness.
Inquiring minds want to know.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. Do you have your? Is that your car registered to you? The driver or your registration? Okay, I'll just get all your information off of that real fast. Mm.
There you go. Camel green.
Oh, camel green. Okay.
You're good, dude.
Are
they sending a detective up? This definitely.
I don't know.
Detective should
Is
come
I'm
out.
assuming.
We're still
Well,
recording.
oh, I am too. Scott's coming out.
Walk up. Is he?
I don't know.
I think you need to call him.
Well, I
Did you
thought he
call
was coming. Well, you just said about Scott coming out.
No, I said I would call him.
Oh,
You
well,
want
of
me to call
course.
him?
I thought he was coming out. Let's just get him on the radio and say, "Come on out." There goes a gray. Now, is it a? I gotta find out 2-door, 4-door. But anyway, get him out here. I thought he was already on the way.
I'm gonna walk up and down these streets.
Yeah, see if we have any more cameras.
I'm gonna walk up this one and then back down.
Cool, thanks.
Something they didn't do in Chandler. Look for cameras on adjacent houses. Interesting. They just accepted it. No, yeah, Alex said it was self-defense. It must be self-defense. We're not going to test for blood spatter. We're not going to use luminol. We're not going to test for DNA. It's not a DNA sensitive scene in Chandler.
Are you Brandon? All right, cool. So what would you say, how many minutes before you called us did this happen?
I just called right as soon as it happened.
Okay, fantastic. Now, were you able to, because you're coming in, they're facing that way, so you're not going to be able to see. When they passed you, when you were parked, able to see any description of these people? Is that a guy, a girl, anything? Okay.
I was trying to make sure I had enough distance in case they shot at me.
Right.
Okay.
Dude, your window just got shot out after a loud boom. You're
And you
gonna
said
sit
you
there and
saw when you saw you could see the barrel. You think it was a long rifle, not a handgun.
try and get a description of the assailant. Yeah, that ain't
So that's why
happening.
it's like maybe it wasn't a gun but it was so loud.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not airsoft. That's not BB.
Sure. Do you have I was gonna say, do you have a chair or something that we can get you?
I have some chairs. I just want to sit down.
Okay, sure, no problem at all.
It's kind of hit me, you know.
Is there anybody else here? Are you the only person that lives here? Is there anybody here that?
My kids live here with me.
Okay, no other adults. Okay, is there somebody we can call to come here to be with you?
Yeah, in a minute.
Okay, you go ahead and you take your time, whatever you need. Okay, can I get you a
Let
bottle
him
of water?
chillax, girl. Let him chillax.
Yeah, I got one over there. I'm fine. I just want to sit down.
Sure, no problem at all.
Here with you, buddy?
No.
Nobody else is here at the house? What do you do for a living?
I own a couple businesses.
Okay.
I do want to know what businesses he owns, though.
I know I have a lot of questions. I apologize. Is it a 2-door or a 4-door Jeep Wrangler?
Looks like a 2-door.
The blacker the better, Mel. Get you some of that coffee. This is right after USA. This is right after the shooting. Like, he called 911 immediately, and they were on scene like 5 minutes-ish, I'm going to say. 5 or less minutes.
Sure.
That's definitely what someone would say is immediately after. That's interesting, Beach Bum. He and Charles were in business together. That's very interesting. Because if one of them is dark, they're both dark.
Mm-hmm. Okay. When you went, huh? Yeah, you're gonna do a canvas, yeah, and do a line search. As you went down and you got out, you turned north on that street. Okay, how far did you go down before you parked and just?
You know where there's a pool over here?
There. Okay, I'm not real far. It's been a while.
I owned the house on the other side of the street. So
okay.
So I just pulled on the other side of the pool.
Pull the other side of the pool. Okay. All right. And then they passed you by. They
drive by. I thought, well, I'm going to go down this way and make sure they don't come back out and go out this way.
Right.
I had 911 and I told them. And
okay.
As I saw them go down that way, that's when I pulled back in. And then it kind of hit me.
Yeah, USA, you can definitely tell from the cadence and the pitch of his voice that he definitely is still in fight or flight. Absolutely, he still is.
Oh yeah, right. Wouldn't you be? That's startling for that to happen. Carolyn here in chat says that Brandon won a $12 million defamation lawsuit against Mel's divorce attorneys. Wow. Good for him.
Right.
Good for you. I didn't know that. So good for Brandon.
It's a rare one when you win against attorneys because they're like professionals at winning lawsuits. So you win one against them, like, all right, dude, all right. But he didn't act like that. Like, he didn't act in court. So he showed up in court a couple of times, and he did absolutely not act like a millionaire. Like,
I don't think. Yeah, I don't. He doesn't strike me as the kind of guy that would change. You know.
Nope. They say that having a bunch of money doesn't change you; it just brings out who you are.
And I think that can be true for a lot of people. Yep, the good, bad, and the ugly.
Yep.
What happened? Yeah, not until you showed me that I realized.
Okay. All right. I'm going to get some maps and stuff like that. I'm going to be making some notes, so just hang tight, okay? The GMC? Okay, got it.
Wait, there's a hold on. There's a cop driving with her driver's side door open. No. She needs a traffic ticket for that. That's a violation. You can't do that, lady cop. You can't drive with your door open. That is a violation. That's a clear violation. I'm going to make a citizen's arrest. And then we'll have an interview on my channel, and I will revoke the citizen's arrest.
Who are you, Brian Koberger of this driving laws?
Right?
I couldn't help myself.
Unusual eyes.
She didn't go far, Joe.
Doesn't matter.
Well, let me point out the female in the room is the only one investigating the crime. Okay.
Right?
Can I
Yes.
just point that out? Like
All
both
right.
times
All
she's
right.
called. All right.
I'll take that. I'll take that. The hell was that? What was that? Did you hear that sound? That's like, I think that's
I
one of
did.
those. That's one of those noisemakers that they give to like kids at parties and New Year's Eve.
Mm. Yeah.
That's not like a wild animal flying over flying over Arizona. All right, I think that's it for that. Yeah, so that was the incident. We're probably going to see that body-worn cam footage at trial. Opening statements begin June 2nd. Jury selection begins the last week of May. The judge does have 1 week of June blacked out because he has to go to training. So it will be interesting to see if this one goes longer than the last one. And in my opinion, just like legal wise, I think it's actually a harder case to prove because there's nobody deceased. There's no medical examiner's report. There's no coroner's report. There's no CPR by the fire department.
Well, they're going to stress that it was an attempt, right?
Right. Yep.
So if they can show evidence to back up that attempt, that's all they need. And that's what I'm not sure what they have to prove that theory.
Right.
Yeah. You have access to all of Brandon's documents?
Yes.
Search warrants and anything like that in any of that stuff? Or just court filings? Like
court filings.
usually search if there's, and I'm not saying there was a search done like of the crime scene itself sometimes. And if they searched anybody's home, then there's usually the warrants are listed, but you may not see anything on them.
Yep. Let me look real quick. That's the 2022 case. Boop. Document not available, document not available, document not available.
I
Yeah.
don't like that document not available stuff.
Yep. They have that for most of the search warrant. And there's an order to seal documents.
Yeah. Okay. They do have an order to seal over there.
Yep.
On some of the stuff.
Warrant for arrest is not available. Sealed document, order to seal documents, release questionnaire. Yeah. Most of that stuff is sealed.
Okay.
If not all of it. Oh boy. All right. So we know that they used Tylee's Jeep to try and unalive Brandon, but they had to take out the back seat and they had to take off the back wheel, the spare tire, to be able to do that. So let's go look at the storage unit footage of when they took those things out of Tylee's Jeep. Wait, Lori Vallow talks to PD during welfare check. That's not the right one. 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 Hold on. All right, Houston, we have a problem. So I had Melanie Boudreaux / Pulowski's testimony queued up, but we don't need to watch that. It is interesting testimony, though. She gets into the dark stuff. We're at 9:46. We can actually let's do the storage unit stuff first. Playlists. Got to get to playlists. Got to get to today. What are we doing? What are we doing? Stand by.
No, sir, that's not allowed. No, I'm joking. You know how I feel. We are not mainstream media. We do not have a massive production team behind us. It is what it is sometimes. We are patient.
Enhanced video shows who visited Lori Daybell's storage unit. There we go.
Oh, enhanced video. I'm joking.
Oh, no. Nate Eden, you didn't present enhanced video. No, Nate,
Joe,
not you.
Joe,
Not
I'm PTSD on this enhanced video situations. But I'm good. I'm teasing you.
All right, here we go. We're ready to roll.
I'm Nate Eaton, and we are getting a closer look at surveillance footage from Self Storage Plus in Rexburg. This is the facility where Lori Vallow went on October 1st to rent a storage unit, and inside she placed some very personal belongings, such as children's bikes, scooters, also some photo albums, and blankets with pictures of her children, JJ and Tylee. Lori and sometimes two men visited the facility 9 times in October and 1 time in November. The big question is what happened on October 2nd. We know that Lori rented the unit by herself the day before on the 1st, but on October 2nd, she came in her blue Nissan Rogue with a man we originally thought was Alex Cox, her brother. But a closer look of enhanced high-quality video shows it likely was not Alex. In fact, it appears to be Chad Daybell, based on the way...
Whoa, did you hear that?
Oh, yeah.
That's not Alex. That's Chud.
Chad. Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Look at how they're holding each other. That's not Alex and Lori. I mean,
no. Well,
yeah. We won't go there right now because
that's not. You're right.
Right.
This is not Lori. This is not that show. This is not. This is Lori. And, yeah. Okay. I digress.
I don't need to throw up this early in the morning. It's only 9:49 here.
Yeah. It's almost lunchtime
He
here.
walks,
I want to
looks,
have
and
an
comparing
appetite.
his mannerisms to other video we have of him. Let me walk you through this.
Yeah,
The
that's
blue
not
Rogue
Alex.
arrives at 2:25. You can see the timestamp says 1:25, but that's because the clocks were off, according to the facility. Lori is driving the Rogue and makes her way to the door of the building where her unit is. She gets out 2 minutes later at 2:27 with the man we...
Oh, that's not Alex. That is definitely not Alex. I'm going to back up just a couple seconds. That is definitely not Alex.
2:27 with the man we believe
That's Chud. Yep.
is Chad. At 2:29, he pulls a tire out of the back of the Rogue and rolls it into the storage unit. Then 1 minute later, he and Lori both carry in together what appears to be a removable car seat. They put it in the locker, shut the door, and leave the facility at 2:32. Their entire visit is just 7 minutes.
Whoa, he just smacked her on the ass. All right, guys, we got to back up for that ass smack.
Oh, Lordy, not that. Back that ass up.
He smacks her on the ass after they load the spare tire and the rear seat from Tylee's Jeep into the storage unit.
So they think about that. Removing the tire out of the way.
Mm-hmm. So you can raise up that rear window. Remember when I told you you couldn't do that? The spare tire was there?
Oh, yeah. I'm there. We see you, Lori and Chad. You freaking
Both
monsters.
carry in together what appears to be a removable car seat. They put it in the locker, shut the door, and leave the facility at 2:32.
Why take that whole seat
They
out?
both carry in together Rogue and rolls
There's
it
the
into the
tire.
storage unit.
There's that
And
spare
1
tire.
minute later,
But
he and
now
Lori
think about it.
carry
Look,
in together.
they're making plenty of room back there. Plenty of room. We're taking the seat out. We're getting rid of the tire. What are we doing here? Why are we doing all that? You know, I took the third row seat out of a van I had once, but that's because I converted it to a camper van. But I still had other seats. I had captain seats, right? What's Lori doing taking that seat out like that? Is she about to go camping? I don't think so. They're about to go stalking. It's crazy.
So here's a question.
Okay.
How is he not charged in any way in Arizona?
I don't know, unless there was no clear not the only way I can think of is there's not enough clear communication between Chad and Lori discussing those events.
He called the frickin'
I know but just because you call a funeral home, that's not a conversation about a conspiracy to commit murder. That's not a we're good now, things are done conversation. Not the kind she was having with Alex. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
That's why. That wouldn't have done anything to prove anything except that he made the call. So I don't think they had enough evidence, they felt like, to get a conviction on Chad for those, because it was literally
to make it worth the cost of
exactly
taking him to trial.
They had more evidence against Lori and Alex than they did Chad in these cases.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you have to evaluate the cost of diminishing returns, the point of diminishing returns, and some of that is up to the family. Like, do they want to go through another trial?
Well, now how much if they barely had anything on Chad, and then the jurors don't know about the Idaho stuff, they would have had a hard time proving a conspiracy case against Chad without the jurors knowing the prior histories, right, of other things. They would have only considered what they were presented. So I just don't think they ever had strong enough evidence against Chad to tie him into the conspiracy charge.
It looks like he was here. It looks like he was at the storage.
He was a big part of it. Don't get me wrong. They just don't have proof that he was a big part of it. No text communications and stuff.
What appears to be a removable car seat. They put it in the locker, shut the door, and leave the facility at 2:32. Their entire visit is just...
Whoa. All right, we're going to see that ass grab one more time, and then I'll keep going. But he
Oh Lord,
smacks her.
you're obsessed with her booty. See, Joe's
I'm
evolved
not. Chad
from her
is.
sexy hair to this. Lord. We're all going to go to bed tonight with the image of Lori getting smacked by Chad.
Shut the door and leave the facility
come.
at
There it goes.
2:32.
3,
Their
2,
entire
1,
visit
boom.
is just 7 minutes.
Good job,
So
honey.
why does this
Good
matter?
job.
Well, that same day, Brandon Boudreaux says that he was shot at in Gilbert, Arizona around 9:30 that morning while coming home from the gym. Brandon had been married to Melanie, Lori's niece, and he had a very large life insurance policy and assets totaling over $1 million. Months
Oh, I didn't know about the life insurance policy. I mean, it makes sense.
He and Charles were in insurance, so they're obviously going to be smart enough to know they need insurance, right? And set that up. And so none of that was a shocker to me. I think, Brandon did well enough for himself. He was smart with his money. He made the right plans as a parent with kids. Now Melanie's like, I got my eyeballs on all that money because you're a demon.
You're dark, buddy.
You went dark. You turned dark. Fuck these freaking women, I swear.
months earlier, Melanie began spending a lot of time with Lori and her religious group. Then Melanie suddenly demanded a divorce from Brandon. The bullet missed his head by inches, and police say the person who shot at him was driving a Jeep registered to Charles Vallow. Charles had been dead for nearly 3 months at this point, and Colby Ryan regularly drove that Jeep, but she had been missing for more than a month at this point. Now, if you're familiar with Jeeps, you know that many models have spare tires on the back, and if they are in place, the back window does not open. But if they are removed, that window does open. So it's possible that the Jeep used in that shooting had the tire removed, and that tire could have been placed into the storage unit along with the back
that's not
seat of
Tylee's
the
Jeep
Jeep.
sitting out
We
there.
would
No, that's an SUV.
Yeah. But that tire
seat of the
looks,
Jeep.
it's a little,
We would add
Right. So they had to load up.
but if you
the
look at the
back
size of that
seat.
tire, right.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
They had to load up the tire and the back seat from Tylee's Jeep into that SUV to
Right.
transport it to the storage unit to hide it while they were doing their deed.
Yeah.
Or
Needed it to
trying
get
to
it
do
out
their
of the
deed.
way.
Yep.
ask Alex Cox if that was the case, but we can't because he's dead. And police
Really,
Nate
really,
was like,
Nate?
we can't because he's dead. Oh, damn, Nate. We're picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah.
are not commenting. But if Cox was not in Rexburg, it's possible he was in Arizona, inside Charles Vallow's Jeep. The next day, back in Rexburg, Lori returns to the storage facility with another man who we believe is Alex. They were there for 3 minutes. You can see them and
Definitely different dude than the first day. Definitely.
entering, working their way to the same door she was at the day before, and going.
Let's see if there's an ass grab or an ass pat on this one.
Oh, God, no. Lord help
into
us
the
all.
building. Compared to the guy from the day before, this man walks differently and carries the tire out rather than rolling it. The man we think is
'Cause
Cox
Chad
also
couldn't pick it
carries
up.
out the car seat by himself.
No.
Look, Alex is like, I got this. But Lori had to help Chad. Y'all notice she had to help Chad carry the seat in. They had to roll the tire in. Alex is like, man up. But Chad couldn't do that. Weak. And I'll be nice. I'll be nice.
We don't have to be, but it's actually meaner to be nice right now.
Okay.
Like, dude, you could have picked up that tire. You could have, but
Yeah, I
pinch
went
yourself.
hard this week after a
without-
couple people, so I need to slow my roll for a minute, try to be at peace.
Any help from Lori. Originally, we thought this was a tote with something hanging over the end, but this higher quality video shows that it appears it's actually a vehicle seat, and
Yeah.
Lori and Alex are likely taking it away. 3 days later, on October 6th, Alex returns to the storage unit by himself in his silver pickup and comes 5 other times that month, including a visit on October 28th with a man who appears to be Chad Daybell.
Yep.
They stay 6 minutes and wheel in bikes and other items. The last time anyone visits the storage locker is November 24th. Lori and Chad stay for 4 minutes and drop off this Home Depot box and a tote, leaving belongings of JJ and Tylee never to return.
Yep. Yeah. Let that sink in for a minute.
That's JJ and Tylee shut right there.
Yeah, their bicycles, their stuff's in totes and box, and they're gonna take off and, you know, go have this wonderful life. And Lori doesn't think that anybody in the country is gonna ever notice her kids are gone or care. And boy, was she wrong. She had a whole lot of people around her supporting her and helping her hide the fact that her kids were missing. Helping her figure out what to do next without these damn demons coming at all of them from all angles. Yeah, I need to.
Yeah, I need a minute.
Yeah, normal mothers, normal parents, normal people don't do that to children or their belongings and then act like everything is fine. And then you want me to believe they're stable. They're, you know, to go that deep into the fringe of religion that she went into, she was not stable to start with. She would have known right from wrong. She would have known to stay on the straight and narrow and just be LDS. She wouldn't have needed all that extra attention and whatever she was getting from Chad. It's just so disgusting. And then all the people around them that bought into their bullshit, who want to backtrack after the fact, because they might get in trouble now. They're like, oh, well, you know, we kind of believed it, but kind of didn't. Yeah, we see you, each and every one of you. Why they haven't been charged, Joe, is beyond me. A couple of those people, you know.
Yeah. Think we're going to have
Aiding
to
and
do.
abetting comes to mind.
Yep. We've gone into Melanie Gibb, but there are other Melanies. There's another Melanie we need to look at.
Yeah.
She's going to come to the forefront in this trial, I think. All right.
And then they never returned to that storage unit after that last trip.
Right. And JJ and Tylee should have been riding their bikes and wearing tie-dye and just
being
carefree kids. Yeah.
Playing in the backyard with their big brother at the pool, watching him be goofy. JJ seemed to enjoy watching Colby be goofy.
Yep. That reminds me. I want to watch Colby's reaction with Nate Eden on East Idaho News of his mother's guilty verdict. I think it's fitting ending to this morning.
I haven't seen that yet.
Yep. Let me get to that. That was tough. Sorry, guys.
You're good.
Colby, it's been a little over 24 hours since your mom was found guilty of conspiring to kill
your stepdad. Is that still weird to hear? Still weird to comprehend?
If I'm being honest with you, it just feels like a really, really, really long time coming. And I feel relieved and kind of in shock, if I'm being honest with you. And I also feel happy and sad. It's a very, very mixed bag of emotions.
I know in your video yesterday that you shared watching the verdict, it was an emotional moment for you. What were things like during that moment? You went to a few days of the trial. I know you watched other days. Why was it so emotional?
I think just the scope of how long it's felt to wait for that. I think that I felt like I was trying to hold my breath this whole time to just get justice for Tylee, JJ, and then Charles. And I never knew what was going to happen in a trial for Charles. But I think Lori needs to be held accountable because she's just has this God complex that makes her think that she was going to just pitch everybody that this is all tragedies and it's not real life. So like for me, it almost validated the kid in me that was like, yeah, she lies. And unfortunately, she tried to do the same thing to all these other jurors and they caught her. And they were able for their own sake to see what a liar she is. And then on top of that, they were able to see that she did plan all of this out. And what's heartbreaking to me really in the end of all things is the fact that it was so planned out and that there was other people in my family involved. And I can't wrap my head around any of it.
What was it like being with her, seeing her in court for a few days? Did you guys made eye contact?
Yeah.
Did she smile at you? Did it look like she wanted to talk to you? What was that like?
She gives me this look almost like, and she's mouthed it before. And it's kind of what she did the first time in her trial in 2023. She kind of like gives you this my baby, my son look. And it's now that I'm so much past that point of emotion with her, it just makes me feel sick. It makes me feel like she's not my mom. And I had a moment the first day I saw her walk in, the first time I personally went to court for this trial, I had a moment of that's not my mom. And so there's a disconnect. And I know that sounds weird, but it's taken years to get to that point. That's not the mom that I ever knew. There's parts of her that I think existed before this, but she went all in on the bad side, if you want to call it that, whatever you want to, attribute to that word. She's no longer the person I know. So I just don't feel like I have a mom. And so there wasn't the same feeling like it.
Can you imagine feeling like that?
No, I mean,
Like-
that's hard. It's a hard pill to swallow to know your mother is that person. Especially in the struggle, knowing the mom you grew up with, like if things were normal for him growing up and she was normal for a long time and then things start unraveling and there she goes, and the manipulation she did to him and to break free from that is hard. He loved her, right? When all this was beginning to unfold, he loved his mother. He
Yes,
wanted
he
to
did.
believe in her, but
Yes.
he knows otherwise.
And to know of the troubled past that he has with
Mhm.
multiple father figures in his life, and Charles
Yeah.
Vallow coming into his life and being a positive father figure in his life and helping him to be a man and to learn how to be a man, and then to see his mother destroy that, not just
Thank
destroy
you.
the relationship, but to destroy the man himself.
Exactly.
She destroyed it all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how devastating was that for him? I can't
Right.
imagine.
And then, the constant lies about, well, Tylee was always fighting with him and this and that. Well, even like Kay alluded, of course there were things there. She was, becoming a preteen. You're going to have things, but I think Lori, manipulated that whole situation and made it way worse than it was. Probably instigated the heck out of it. and was probably telling, there's no telling what all she was telling her child. I'm talking about Colby, you know, as to what Charles was supposedly up to. And him knowing the man he knows compared to what his mom's telling him. You know what I mean? It was all of it had to be so difficult.
Yep. That's what a narcissist does, though. They fuck with
Mm-hmm.
your mind. They fuck with your mind. They tell
That's why,
you that what you believe
yes.
is not the truth.
And children of narcissists have it the worst.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have a
Was the first one I
relationship
saw.
as an adult, but you know, you can be in a relationship with one, but you can get away. As a child, where are you going to go?
Yep.
That makes
I
sense.
had a few people email asking me to ask you to talk about your relationship with Charles. What was that like?
I think we had a relationship where we didn't get that super, super close until I got married. And he took an interest in my life like never before. And he was trying to help me make decisions as a man. I don't know if it was because he was trying to let my mom kind of lead my life, because I don't know if he ever felt like he had the place to be a dad. So when I got married to Kelsey, he started to really he would invite me to Starbucks. I mean, go sit down and talk. And he would just try to talk to me about what I'm thinking and what I'm going to do. And at that point, Kelsey was pregnant with our first daughter. So that's when I felt like I was the closest to him ever. And we never had a bad relationship. We just weren't super, super close. But he showed me how much he cared when I was an adult. And that's when I knew how he actually felt about me.
So one of the things with this trial, Colby, is it's brought up a lot of rumors and weird speculation, and people are fascinated with every aspect of your life. One of the ones that I heard people talking about was that Tylee didn't go to your wedding and wasn't part of your family. So how would you respond to that?
Yeah, so I felt the need to finally address that specific rumor. The rumor really was trying to figure out if Tylee was isolated from our family, like that she was always treated a certain way. And to try to do that for my wedding felt really wrong, because she was at my wedding. And I explained this on the channel. She showed up late. She was on a vacation, I guess, or had went skiing with her friend in the morning. I don't know why that happened, but I'm not in control of that situation. So she missed our family pictures, and we were all very upset. And we didn't have the time to wait because we had no idea when she was going to come back. Charles ended up leaving to go pick her up, and then she was there for the ceremony. So I just said, okay, fine. I'm just going to put this to rest, because Lori brought up my wedding to Adam, trying to make him look bad for not coming. I also explained that, because I don't know why my wedding is a topic of conversation for everybody, but I addressed the Tylee thing because Tylee was not taken out of my wedding or not invited to my wedding. She lived at the house that we had the wedding at. So it's just a really odd thing to have to actually address. But when it came to Tylee and our relationship, I don't know why that was questioned, but I had to show and just prove and just be done with that, because that's such a wild rumor to me.
Yeah, what is it like when you hear these things about your family out there from strangers, from people you know, from whomever, and you know they're not true or they're being twisted?
It's weird, because I've actually seen some of the big programs that talk about my family get these facts wrong. And I know you're human beings, so you don't have all the information, but it's weird because you're telling people these are facts. And if you're a really credible source, like a big TV program or something of that nature, and you misstep on something that simple or little things, the mass majority is not going to know the difference. So for me personally, to know my family, to know what is the errors, where there's different things. They even showed in one of the pictures on a documentary that Adam was holding me, and they said that was my biological father. So I'm just sitting there like, you can even tell it's Adam. I don't know. Like, for me, it's stupid little things like that. But the problem is, I think, how could people know any different unless someone said something?
Right.
So it's weird to see rumors started, and then it picks up this steam, and now it becomes a big topic. And then there's all these misconceptions, and then people asking these questions. So I could sit there and probably spend days on days just addressing things that are just wrong, and the things that I know from my perspective.
Right. Another big thing that became a topic was the enchiladas, the green chili enchiladas. Address that. I know you did on your channel as well, which, by the way, anyone can go to Colby's channel, Colby Ryan, on YouTube. And
Were they good,
he's
Colby?
gone
Tell
deep
us.
and, addressing
He
some of
said
these
they
things.
weren't.
Did your mom make really incredible green chili enchiladas?
What do you define as incredible?
You tell me. You tell me.
Let me put it this way. She was not a cook by any means. I grew up on pasta with meat sauce, pot roast, and that was kind of the back-to-back, and then fast food 95% of the time. And then when I was about anywhere between 19 to 21-ish, she finally tried her hand at these enchiladas. And so let me just put it this way. You could buy every ingredient pre-made, and you put it in the dish and you heat it up. So it's about the same as pasta. There's nothing about them that's special. And so to have her get on Adam in court about, you don't remember my enchiladas, I was like, those enchiladas were nothing to write home about. So for you to be
That's
that
so
mad
funny.
that you didn't remember the staple
Yeah, it is.
enchiladas is
We
crazy.
feel
There were
vindicated.
nothing special about those enchiladas.
Yes.
Were they a staple? Did she prepare them all the time, or did that just kind of come out of left
Nate.
field?
So what happened was our house was really the house that everybody came to for events. So anybody's birthday, anytime the family was all going to get together, that's what we did is everyone came to our house. And so I think that after a certain point when she realized I can make something in bulk really easily with canned chicken, tortillas, and pour some sauce.
Oh geez, canned
The
chicken.
canned chicken, Joe.
Oh my God.
Not the
Oh my.
canned chicken.
No, I
Oh.
can't. I can't.
Mm. I knew that was going to get you. I don't do canned chicken either.
Yeah, good hair is fine, but good hair does not overcome canned chicken. I can't
Oh,
do it.
girl. Joe's like, you're not welcome in my home, Miss Vallow. You make the canned chicken.
I'm
Can't
not
have it.
entering your. I'm not entering your portal, little girl.
Mm-mm. We don't do the canned chicken chili green enchilada thingies.
Okay, but what do you do for family get-togethers? What's your go-to?
Hamburgers.
Mm.
They all love me and my kids all love a good grilled burger. And then I got my daughter loves grilled hot dogs. So it's like, what do y'all want? They're always like, we want hamburgers. I'm like, fine, whatever. We'll just throw a bunch on the grill and call it a day. So that's
Yeah.
usually what we do. Yeah.
That works.
I'm ready
Sauce
for
on it,
grill
and then cheese
season.
sprinkles.
I'm ready.
Cheese, it became a big deal to her because she could feed, she could make 10 pans of that in less than 20 minutes and then just throw them in the oven and everybody can come over and get fed. So
I see. Okay.
I think that's why it was such a big deal, because she was trying to kind of prove that she hosts.
Right.
Uh-huh.
All right. So the next, this trial's over, and the next one is Brandon's. Do you anticipate going to that one? Do you think your mom's going to act as her own attorney again?
So I'm going to go out on a limb and say I'm almost positive she's going to. I'm planning on being there to support Brandon.
So she has already waived her right to defense counsel in the next trial. That's the 2022 case. She waived them both at the same time on December 6th of 2024.
So we're going to get Lawyer Lori 2.0.
Yep.
Just a little bit more knowledge.
Maybe she will get subpoenas submitted
Straight this time and get, maybe.
And I think when you look at the scope of all of this, it's so weird because I understand
Same
they have to split
investigator
it
working
out,
for her.
but it's all really one
Yes. Yeah, actually,
period
Jeff
of time,
Whiteley. Yes.
and it's all really all interconnected. So I was surprised when they split the two, but I understand it. I just want Brandon to have that support because I can't imagine from his perspective what he's been through, and so he knows he has my support. But it's exhausting to go and listen to her talk. And I had a lot of that just now. But once that's over, you do get to close the book, and she doesn't have that place.
All right, Colby. I was in trial for every single day. You were there 4 times. So I'm more fed up with her than you are. I'm just saying.
Are you kidding? He's been through 3 trials of this lady. He's like Joe Schmoe in your one trial stuff, dude.
Right. Okay. I'm not gonna one up.
I got your
Colby.
back, Colby. I got you.
Right.
To continue to do what she's doing right now.
Yeah. How's your family doing? How's your wife doing?
I think we're both trying to just process this. I mean, what I don't think a lot of people probably understand is we had gotten married barely a year before this all started. And our whole marriage and almost her entire 20s and all my entire 20s have been this case and my family situation. And so we're just like both kind of in shock that this closes the book for Charles, and then it closes the book for Brandon when that's over. So we're both just like, I guess we're in a place of like trying to just recoup everything that was lost in so many years from then to now. And now we're like, we do have a life to live. We have a family. We have things we want to do better for our family and kids. And even though that this might be my family's somewhat, if you want to call it the word legacy or history, we get to rewrite it for our kids. So we're both just.
I love that. I love that.
He's going to break that generational curse.
Yes. Yes, he is. Yes. You go rewrite that, Colby. You rewrite the story. That's awesome. I love that.
Trying to put all of our focus in the betterment of our family and try to heal now, try to move on.
Good for you. That's really nice to hear. So many people have been praying for you, thinking about you. Anything you want to say to them before we go?
Honestly, like just the bottom of my heart, it doesn't go unnoticed for me. Like the channel and people praying for you, I know that that's tangible and real. So it's just like, honestly, my heart always goes out to everybody because I felt so alone for so long. And then you have all these people pouring their love and support in you, their support of you, and they're there for you. And so it's honestly, I always tell everybody, just thank you for everything.
That's awesome. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
He felt so alone for so long, but now he feels the love and support, and that is a huge difference. I love that.
Yeah, because it's rare in these cases when, like with these families, right? Involved in this case, the couple that have a YouTube channels, to find support in that way, versus coming to social media and seeing all the negative stuff said about you and your family.
Yep.
Like a lot of these cases end up having happen in their cases. So it's been it's different with this case, and it's refreshing. And it's nice to see them recognize that there are people that do care. And it's not just a bunch of noise about defendants, all the time. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to sign off here and then head over to Catherine's channel to do a little live.
Okay. Nice. I'm going to make some lunch and join you guys over there.
All right, Kathy. I'll see you in a minute. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, mods. Thank you, chat. Thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate that. If I knew where to find it, I would post it back up here again. Oh, gosh, it's all the way up there. All right. Thank you,
Thanks,
everybody.
Everyone.
Everybody have a great day.
Good morning. Good morning. Hope you got your cup of Joe and filled up your morning with good things to know. Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for saying hi. Together we make a difference. Be sure to come back by. Good morning, good morning. Thanks for saying hi. Together we make a difference. Be sure to come back. you got your cup of Joe and filled up your